It goes down at 10, yeah. 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 It goes down at 10, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Octane Online Racing's Thermaltake Sprint Series for Season 26, Round 5. The summer break is over. Well, winter break for us down under, but it's all a bit chilly down here. But yeah, we've had a week off, and we're back for the final 4 rounds of the respective seasons. We've got the lovely split yellow here, ACC on KYALAMI, as you can see, in qualifying is just underway, and quite a short qualifying because we've got 2 25-minute sprint races tonight, so lots of action all the way through. My name's Cameron Fesselwaite. I'm joined by George Sicanius on the comms, and I've got lovely Glenn Germain on the cameras as well. But yeah, qualifying's underway. George, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to tonight's race. This is one track that I do like, which is KYALAMI, and it does bring up a lot of pretty good racing, actually. So I'm looking forward to tonight. I expect there to be some quick times tonight. I've seen the boys been practicing during the week, and I've seen some pretty rapid times. So let's see what happens moving forward.
Yeah, it should be very much an interesting one. I think we drove this not too long ago, and we had our the duo series a few months ago. I remember you and me. I think I held you up for a long time over there in your bloody old Lexus, as we're seeing on screen, in the hands of Isaac Price Davis, who's shooting up to P1, but it's only the first few times. But I imagine Isaac will probably be competing for that top 10 because he's been pretty rapid all season long. Stan Boskovis as well, leading the way, actually leading the championship now for him. Won the last round at NERB GP, and has had another win at Misano's Sprint Series as well. But should be interesting, leading the championship as well. Few have fallen by the wayside, so the championship is kind of turned up, and all stands on top.
There's the points up there. The interesting thing about it is too, if you have a look like Stan, Justin, and those guys, they're all got extra ballast on their cars tonight. So this season is, if you finish in the top 5, you get extra little bit of weight just to sort of slow you down a little bit. And I believe tonight might actually come to head on that, because some of these guys are going to be struggling just a little bit to get the rapid times. But I expect it to be into the 140 mids to highs is going to be the qualifying time tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised, but high 40s are probably the what we're expecting for some of the guys out there as well. Probably the 41s for most of the pack, and a few in the 42s as well. But yeah, looking pretty quick all round. And you were saying that the Lamborghini before the broadcast was, it's a better track for it. It should be, really. It's I remember this track was, God, this was Audi territory, Audi and Porsche territory, KYALAMI for many, many years. And the kind of the fast, nimble cars, not too surprisingly, the ones that can rotate well, got good pitch, but also good traction and can deliver it. There is a few straights, but it's not too critical unlike some other tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. Driving the Lamborghini during the week and practicing on this track, it definitely is suited a lot better on this track than, say, Laguna that we had last week. You do get a fair bit of rotation in the back end that allows you to get a little bit more steer, and it's actually not too bad on this track. As long as you don't overdrive it. The faster times were coming out when you were driving it appropriately, put it that way. If you forced it, it did sort of slip and slide and will spin a little bit. But look, I do expect a few rapid times tonight, but I believe the guys in the Lexus and the Nissan's going to really be right up the top there. The Lexus has been a very, very rapid car around here. As you said before, I was chasing you down the Lexus in the Duo series. It is a very rapid car around here. It's pretty stable. So let's see what happens. These guys are finalising some of the laps. We're on board with Justin here at the moment. He's 0.3 up, going up to 0.4, which will jump him up a few spots if he can maintain. He just needs to be able to get into here and then out. And then we go into a couple of corners which are called like Crocodile and Cheetah, and he's 0.5 up. This will get him closer to the pointy end. Let's see what happens. Can he get onto the picks nice and tight, turn in, slow in, fast out? This is where the crucial part is. And then this next part, this Cheetah, invalidated, just gone wide. This corner there, if you hit that ripple strip on the inside, it really punishes you, that's for certain.
Yeah, the old cheetah curve, the penultimate corner has claimed a many around here. And I dare say there'll be a few tonight as well, unfortunately, catching that one. But yeah, Griffin will go around for another lap. He's got a bit of time still, and you want to be getting all the laps in you can as well. Currently P7 right now. That half a second was looking pretty good to put him right up towards the top, where he has been for the most part of this season as well. Ben Vinton in the BMW, coming. Sorry, not straight after the split. I was watching last night's split, and I thought we were coming from a previous split. But no, it shows you how much I'm sleep deprived at the moment. But Ben Vinton on LMU or ACC, he's been pretty quick towards the front for no matter what sim it is, whether it's prototypes or GT3. And he rounds the final corner of Ingwe, currently 3/10 in hand. This won't be enough for pole position, but I think he'll get himself into that top 5, or just short by 1 place, just behind John Rudd as well. And Tyler Everingham, the AM driver here in P7, although he is classified as a AM, but that is very, very impressive for him.
Very, very impressive. Here's another guy that's actually come through the ranks here, which is Kyle. Is 0.002 off Rondanella's time, and he's got, we'll say, 1.5, 2 tenths there. Can he get out of the corner? He's just going to be able to get. He's going to go wide, bit of a slide. That compromised him. Yeah, lost it all. The 2 tenths there, which compromised. And that's what I'm saying. This track, you can't overdrive it. It's slow in, fast out. Is where you get most of your time around here. When you start overdriving it, you bleed time. So he's got another lap to go. Let's see who else is trying to improve. Coming on with Ibrahim. He's got another lap to start. So let's see if we can do another lap up there. We'll see who else is trying to improve on some hot laps. If we can find anybody. There you go. We're back on with Justin. He's obviously invalidated a couple laps. He's gone a bit wide there. Just again, there you go. Hit a bit of dirt, and he's basically lost almost a tenth. But he has got still a fair bit of the track there to try to grab a few, and he's in 10th spot. The extra ballast in the car does make it a little bit harder for the car. Generally, most tracks, this car is heavily balanced, but on this track, it's not. But with the extra ballast on it, it does make it. Here he goes through the S's. He's maintained it. Yes, he's increased it. 0.16, 0.15, just holds it. Let's see what happens up the top here. Gets in, turns it in. He'll short shift into second. No, he didn't. He let it wind it out. 0.25 up. He's going to come down into what they call his alligator, or crocodile, I should say. Ooh, we've got Kyle. He's flying. He's actually doing it. Can he get into cheetah without invalidating? Yes, he gets through that, and he maintains it. Slow in, fast out. Get the good drive there, Kyle. Gets the drive coming now. Yes, 0.3 up. This will definitely jump him right up to the top there. And there he goes across the line with a 140.887. That's it for him.
Yeah, very good lap there by Kyle Billett. Rondanella isn't going out. Ryan King is done. Justin Griffin comes home P7 as well. Looked like he didn't have a good end to his lap either. And both Lamborghinis of him and Buscobas kind of a little bit out of place. Arguably probably carrying the most success ballast of them all. And Chris Bernard up into P10 as well, pipping Tyler Everingham. There's a few KYALAMI specialists out there, that's for sure. But yeah, it's interesting to see, talking about some cars like the Lamborghini on technically as a platform should favor this track, but some cars like the GTI and the Lexus just got enough raw grunt that it can kind of displace things. Ben Vinter 2/10 in hand, going a bit wide at the exit, and unfortunately bleeding that off. Might get a small improvement, but no real change in position is the case for Ben Vinter coming home P8. Griffin, Vinton, and Buscobas all there in the second half of the top 10, and kind of a little bit out of no man's land. I'm sure they'll want to get their race on the way. Hello to Craig Dale as well. Good evening, sir. Thank you for tuning in. I do apologize for last night. There was a little bit of shenanigans on the YouTube side, as things tend to go. But Kyle Billett, I'm not sure if he's been on pole position before, but lovely to see him on pole as well. He's kind of always been here or there, and I believe, if I remember correctly, he was going well at NERB GP for round 4. But unfortunately, I think he had a hardware issue, so hopefully that doesn't spell danger for the GTR driver tonight. Although I might just cursed him with that one.
Yeah, I did speak to him about that and asked him what happened, and he said his screen went blank. So all he did is went to the right, put his foot on the brake, and basically came back on as just before he hits the fence. So he kept that
That's
out
really
of everybody's
good from
way.
him,
So yeah,
good awareness.
So here we go. Here's your top 10. Let's have a look at the cars. We've got the Nissan and the Lexus Toyota going side by side, going into turn 1's going to be interesting, with Ryan King in third, Price Davies in fourth. Then we've got Ibrahim
All
Bank.
the Lexuses.
Yeah, look at that. Mr. Rad, he's been qualifying. Let's see if he can have a pretty good race tonight. He has been tapped a couple of times, so hopefully he keeps going. Then obviously you got Justin Griffin, Benny Wittner, and then here's the points leader here, which is Stan. Again, that extra weight must be hurting him a little bit there. Followed by Bernard. Well done for qualifying in the top 10. Just a quick one. We'll qualify. Anyone in the top 10 won't need to qualify in the next one, and it's going to be reverse grid tonight too, so it's going to make it interesting. Following through with Everingham, Nicholson. We've got Andy Bishop, Blake Griffiths, followed with Stockton, Lim. I think Lim's changed colours tonight. He normally red or purple or something. He's gone to white tonight. Yao, Simpson, James, Fangis, and Beaton. There we go. There's your small grid tonight. What are you expecting to see tonight?
I'll be, I think, a pretty interesting turns 1, 2, and 3, and 4 potentially. As things tend to go, it's a bit of a scramble because it's not a bad track for racing, but I've found in the past it can be a little bit difficult to get a move done here. Everyone can be it's a little bit line formation at times. You don't have those super long straights where the Toyotas and the Nissans can kind of blast past people, but because like the power has a bit more of an effect here at these shorter circuits, it's sometimes there'll be the cars on the move, but you can see so many of them, all those Lexuses right up the front. Granted, every one of those drivers has been on form as well. And the Nissan right there, P1, Ryan King, P3 as well. I think Ryan will have a little bit of a hard time. He'll be wanting to use the powertrain of the Porsche and its well-known rear engine traction to make sure he gives himself a gap to those cars. And we were speaking before about that Duo series. I remember, that Porsche out of that last corner in particular is a pretty hard thing to keep up with, I have to say. That last corner is a pretty tricky corner. And, it'll be interesting to see how things go. I think Jaden Rondinello will smell a chance at victory. And I think he'll back himself to maybe have the race pace over Billet. But I think, obviously, Billet's clearly taken to Kyalami, I think, a bit more than these other circuits. Not to say he's been racing badly, but that is definitely a bit more of a bit of a higher performance from him that we've seen from the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. He has done a few laps around here as well. Obviously, he's raced with me. We've done some enduros and all that sort of stuff around here. So turn 1's going to be very, very interesting. Generally, at 3 cars wide going into a corner that's beyond 90 degrees. And then obviously when you get into that little kink, which is turn 2, it does choke a bit. So the ideal thing is to get in there and get out of there with no incidents. Fingers crossed there's no safety car tonight. But most of these guys know what they're doing. They're just going to make sure that they're nice and clean and then just settle down. But it is a sprint race, so they're not going to be carrying much fuel in their cars. They're going to only have around about anywhere between 40 to 50 litres to get the 25 minutes that we got here. And it's just going to be a flat-out sprint. It's going to be 25 minutes of qualifying pace, really.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone will be pushing flat out as well. Kyalami's not too bad on tyres, not amazing, not terrible. It's and shouldn't really be a factor in 25 minutes as well, as long as you got your starting pressures correctly, which is sometimes always something that can trip people up as we start double file going through the cheetah corner. And hope for some of the sakes of these drivers we're not going double file come this one lap in the future. as we will go green when we round this final corner. A little bit of a run before the line before we get going. The people on the outside get a little bit scuppered by that last corner. They have to all bunch up again. But it will be Carl Billett on the left-hand side in the Nissan GTRs. We're rolling across the line at 60 kilometers an hour. Still waiting for the green. Still waiting. It's a long way. We're going to wait, almost get to the little kink in the corner. And yes, we do. And it's not a bad start there for Jaden Rondinella. Getting a good start. He's going to be edging ahead there, Carl Billett. But will he have enough around the outside? One of the Lexus is looking up the inside of Ryan King, but not going for it. The Lexus there, or Rad, going a little bit wide. And it's going to be 3 wide going through the middle part, and there's a big pinch there as Price Davis gets sandwiched almost and does back out of it to avoid a big collision. But it looks like Abraham Bank has moved his way up into P4, but it is Jaden Rondinella taking the lead from Kyle Billett. Ryan King in the green Porsche just behind him as well as we come through Sunset Bend. Abraham Bank P4, J-Rad P5, Vinted I believe, and we got an incident at the back. I think that's Chris Bernard's Lamborghini has gone for a spin in the middle of Sunset, potentially had a helping hand, and unfortunately had definitely a collision with another driver, and definitely quite a wounded car, that's for sure. I don't think that'll cause a safety car, but unfortunately his great qualifying position has gone wrong all so much as we go into Lurkop Bend at the top of the hill. Difficult to get the braking on this one, and it's a long sweeping left-hander just scrabbling for traction, but they all do it pretty well. But unfortunately for the 333 of Chris Bernard, losing his top 10 qualifying position there.
Yes, great start by Jaden here. Cole's trying to fight back on there. He got the jump on him right at the start there, allowed to give him a little bit more drive. We know that Lexus is pretty quick in a straight line. Oh, King's just gone wide. Did he keep it in there? Now Abraham Banks fighting around the outside. Can he get past him? Now it's going to be the straight track. I think he's going to have the run on him. Yes, he does. He's got in front. I can't see that Porsche overtaking him now, so... Yes, that little mistake, that's Cheetah always doing it. And here we go, John Rad, he's trying to look, can he go on the inside? He's going to look for it. No, he's not on the brakes. And then you got side by side by Vintner and Price Davies. They just settled down a bit there. Now it's Linus Stern again. Yes, if you put enough pressure on, you're going to make a mistake here. You're going to lose those positions. Back up with Jaden there. Yeah, Rondinella, he got a great start there, getting into turn 1, had a clean turn in, and obviously because he had the wider line there, was able to get the power down and just pull away. And he's got Justin, he's going to be trying to fight to try to get past Price Davies, but it's going to be very hard. That Lexus is quick, and we know with the extra weight, and I know the Lambo as well, it's not that quick down straight. Oh, we've got a car that's spun. Is that 333, which is Bernard again with the Lambo? He's straight back to the pits. Yeah, he might have had too much damage in the car after that first spin there in Sunset. All right, back on in Jaden. Lukty, as they call him. We've got Cole there. He's going to be settling in, get his tyres up to correct racing pressure, and then try to put as much pressure as he can, see if he can make, hopefully not make too many mistakes there, and trying to maintain that gap, especially into what they call East Cheetah. This next corner is a great corner. You've got to go in here full tilt, and you put that curb on the inside in any way, shape or form, it definitely unsettles the car. Yeah, also, Abraham's just got a little bit wide, but he's good. Most of the cars have gotten through there. Back onto the straights again. On with Benny. Can he get the drive? We know that, a bit wide there. That might compromise Vintner down the straight on John Rad.
Yeah, for sure. Vintner going a little bit wide there. He might have got himself track limits on that one. Trying to put pressure on J-Rad as well. Price was just behind him, not having a great start, but it was a good start for Vintner, getting 2 positions. Griffin and Boscovas, unfortunately, just kind of still sitting back there, and I think it's going to be a little bit tricky for them to get any of a wriggle on with all these high-powered cars in front of them. They all get a half-decent exit and they can really scamper away, and nothing those Lexuses can do, as well as the fact that they're carrying extra weight, those two, with a success ballast, and it's not going to be helping their cause as well. Just a reminder as well, the success ballast is added to whatever your LFM, BOP that we run, a custom BOP on top of the Kunos BOP, just to balance the cars out a bit further, and it is overall capped at plus 40 kilos. So if your car's like, say, I don't know, 30 plus 35 kilos, and you've got 10 kilos of success ballast, you're only going to get an extra 5 because that is the overall limit. But yeah, it's not going to help the cause too much. Vincent still on the back of Rad as well. Loopty doing a good job. Billet does have the fastest lap, but I think it will keep him honest. Just going to get just into 5 minutes to go, as 5 minutes into the race. But it's all a bit line formation, a little bit wide there from Vincent, but you can get away with it in that instance. And we've got Chris Bernard. He's up the inside of the Bentley, and he kind of hip shoulders the Bentley wide, and unfortunately goes for a spin by himself. And he's going to collect, I believe, one of his teammates, the Aston Martin there in the Cyril colours. I think that might have been Tyler Everingham, unfortunately. But yeah, it just was almost a free wide moment going into sunset, and kept his nose up and committed to that inside line. Did give the Bentley a bit of a hip check. But yeah, unfortunately, kind of went for a spin for himself as well. So yeah, I'm not sure what the decision was on that one. Car 75 is yellowed between the two last corners. I would suspect there might be another cheater death. I think that's Jeff Beaton in the McLaren, and I think that car's tracking straight, but it might look a little bit wonky potentially. Might have just recovered. It may have just gone away with a spin on that one, but we shall see. Unfortunately for Beaton, he's going to be P20. Unfortunately, Bernard, yeah, like you said before, got a 5-second penalty. Car 25 for jumping the start. Car 25, who are you? You're a Nicholson, the Bentley, the yellow Bentley. Not ideal for him. He's currently P13, and the pack is pretty close as it is. A 5-second penalty will do quite a bit of damage at this point, but we'll see if the gaps open up a little bit further into the race. But yeah, unfortunately there for Nicholson, just a bit of a jump start. But yeah, Loopty's still out in front, kept honest as well by Carl Bellett. He's right there. Carl's got the race pace to match the qualifying pace. 640 has also got a 5-second penalty.
Oh, Blake, yeah.
Unfortunately, Blake, in P11, unfortunately copying a familiar penalty as well. It could be also be a penalty, but potentially, you know, we try to tell the drivers, the race director tells the drivers, make sure you're driving over the pit boxes, over your grid boxes, as Vince is eyeing up a move going into the last corner, not able to get it done, but got a better exit as Rayrad run a little bit wide, and they're going to be even Stevens going down the main straight. It's the straight line, a straight 6 twin turbo, the BMW against the naturally aspirated V8 of the Lexus, and they're going to be even Stevens. The Lexus got a little bit edge on power, but it will be on the outside for this T1. It's very hard to get a move done. Vintner knows that and plays it right, hits the apex, and unfortunately Rad can't stay with him around the outside. There's experience there for Vintner, and he's got another move done there, just playing on Rad's mistake there at the last corner.
Yeah, like, yeah. Yeah, definitely. You can't make too many mistakes on here. We saw there was an here comes another jump start as well. Chris Bernard, yeah, he's definitely having a bad night tonight. I saw that at one stage there was a yellow too for Stockton as well, so be interested to see what happened to him at the top of the hairpin, which is the next corner that these guys are coming up to now. So we're on with Justin. He's nice and close there behind Mr. Davies. Can he get the run in? I just can't. I can't. I know that the tyres on the Lambo do hold up for the whole. I've done a fair bit of 30-minute running on this car, and I do know that the tyres do hold on. So let's see how. I can't remember how the Lexus actually goes around here with the tyres. Yeah, you've got Stan there behind him. He's just starting to put a little bit of pressure on him now. They're going to try to get past him, clipping a little bit of dirt there. Yep, he kept it okay. They all getting through there, all right. Now, can he get the run out? The issue is, I know that with the extra ballast, this Lambo is not that quite big. Quick, here we go. We're on board. Stockton, what happens here? Oh, I just clipped that curb. Oh, I've done that many a times. Just tip your, because we're running a fair bit of rear brake bias, locking up the back wheel there, which causes you to spin. Hello, I have been there, and I've done that many a times. I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
Yeah, very tricky. Going over the crest, going into the Lucop is a bit of a blind braking zone. You have to rely on muscle memory to know how far you can stay up to the right without dipping two wheels in the grass. And unfortunately, Stockton just making that small error there as well. Unfortunately, VM got away with it with just a spin and didn't hit the wall, but not too ideal. Oh, it was very wide for Price Davis on the exit of Sunset, but you can get away with a lot out there, but it won't help things. It'll just add to the pressure. Car 333, 10-second penalty for causing a collision. That is Chris Bernard, I suspect, for the incident that we saw at Sunset, where unfortunately he went for a spin there. So a bad race gets worse for old Bernard, but he has pretty much parked it on the second lap anyway. So he's got another race later tonight, and hopefully he'll be able to redeem himself. The two Lamborghinis right now, the Why Not Racing Lamborghinis of Griffin and Buscobus, kind of caught behind this Lexus of Bryce Davis, and Darrell Lim's McLaren, the A19 car, is sticking to the back of them as well right now, catching up to them as they can't really make too much progress through this Lexus without a significant mistake. As Darrell Lim gets a bit slidey down the exit, but gathers it up, and I'll be wondering if Stan Buscobus might have to be looking in his rear view mirrors a bit, because he can't really go through Griffin right now. He's kind of hoping his teammate will be able to pounce on Bryce Davis, but you can see Bryce Davis strings a few good corners together. He's already starting to pull away from that Lamborghini, and that's all it takes. And he's starting to look at J-Rad. That's the ebbs and flows, and he's just having to follow Darrell Lim, trying to have a little bit of look into turn one to try and spook Buscobus. Buscobus not going to fall for that one, but it is a valid tactic just to keep that driver in front distracted. Darrell Lim and in the LMP2s last night, there was a bit of bowling, not necessarily on Lim's part, but there was a few LMP2s going bowling last night at Monza Turn 1. Should be interested to see, and hopefully I don't curse myself for tomorrow night as well. But we're going to stick with the P6 battle overall. You can see Rad is right at the front of this one. They're just a little bit off Ben Vinter, but not by too far. And that's the thing, any small mistake's just going to be quite costly here. The pack is still very, very close.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and yeah, it's not a silly position to finish in 10th spot, because here we go. We have got Vintner on King, who got the better drive out of there. It's going to go side by side into Crocodile, but we know that Porsche under brakes is very, very good, and we know it gets good traction, and it's actually got a very, very good front end. There you go. And he's maintained it there. You can't go side by side in the cheetah. This is going to be ugly. Someone's got to give, and they did. You don't want to go side by side in the cheetah. That is death just waiting to happen on that corner for certain. So obviously, I believe King may have made a mistake there at one stage that allowed Benny there to actually get up alongside Ryan as well. I'm fairly certain. Oh, look at this. This is a DRS train now heading down into turn 1. This is going to get very interesting. Sure. He's gone wide. Yeah, Rad's gone wide, outbroke himself. He must have hit that inside curb. Rad, no. I was rooting for you, young fella. I was rooting for you. I've been trying to fire you up all week for this race, because I know he's pretty good around here. You poor bugger. Anyway, we're halfway through here with 12 minutes to go. Can Benny put some more pressure onto Ryan to see if he makes a few mistakes? I'm not quite sure how good the Porsche is around here, because I've not really driven the Porsche, but I know that the Beamer and the Lexus is very good around here, so it'll be interesting to see if he can get up alongside him. As you said, the drive of that Porsche does make it a little bit difficult to get past, because he can get the power down where obviously the Beamer just squirms a little bit with the understeer. Now, can he get the drive again? Let's have a look. Going down into Crocodile.
Yeah, pretty good run from Ryan King to a degree, but the BMW of Vinter just kind of keeping with him, and just has the extra power on the straights, especially when it comes to the uphill sections. The naturally aspirated flat 6 of the Porsche is not exactly a torquey engine. It has to rely on getting really, really good exits. A really good run through Sunset as well, and into Cheetah, sorry. Yeah, Vinter just has to stick with him and stick close. And as you saw before on the previous lap, he had a run into the hairpin, and I thought he kind of didn't have a, kind of that was looking overall, not going to happen. But he had another crack going into Cheetah, but unfortunately it didn't work out, and he was smart enough to back out of it as well. He wasn't going to commit that around the outside, and he just waved the white flag on that one and proceeded to live another day on that one. But these guys have fallen back from the top 3 by 3 seconds, and Carl Billett still keeping Jalen Rondinella quite honest as well. You can see still in the same camera shot. Abraham Bank a few seconds behind, but it's a tough ask for Kyle to get a move on here. Can keep close and keep with him, but the Lexus isn't gonna fall over when it comes to the straights, that's for sure, against a Nissan. and just has to keep him honest and try to force Loopy into an error. 10 minutes to go. Jaden's looking pretty good right now. It'd be nice for him to get a bit of a win under the belt. It's you know, there's some pretty stiff competition in his class in this series, and you know, he's looking pretty good at present. But I'm sure he'll not want us commentating on him too much, and he'll provide a curse. But yeah, he'll be sent back to P10 for the next race's you know, grid if he holds this position right now, because it is a reverse top 10 from this race. Vinternet still keeping Ryan King sweating to a degree. Ryan King's pretty nice through these couple of sections, but Winter's really not too bad himself either. You're going to stick close, see if he can get a good enough exit, despite the Porsche bringing really good exits. The BMW not too bad as well. And this short straight, the Porsche's going to run out of puff to a degree, but it might be just enough to keep that BMW at bay. And it's got enough acceleration to keep that gap and not fall, not succumb to the BMW as, oh, Price Tech got a bit close to the back of the BMW.
Yes, I'm going to go down that. I reckon it was a tactical move by Rad to try to finish in 10th so he can start off in pole. I'll go for that. That's what I'm saying. Good tactical, two good tactics there. Get out in front. Oh, you know, we're back. God, oh. Yeah, okay. Our cameraman in the background there is laughing and he says, I'm dreaming. But anyway, we'll just leave that. We're back on with Ryan. Yeah, Benny just needs to get into his mirrors, really get him looking into his mirrors to make him think of where he's going to go, if he's going to lunge, not just put him off, make him miss his braking point. If he can get him to lose his braking point, that will give him a good run. So here they go up into here again. The drive out of here is crucial, but as I said, that Porsche is pretty good under the brakes, and obviously it's got a fair bit of steer in it, so it definitely has got a fairly good front end. But as the fuel comes down on it, if I'm not mistaken, the Porsche gets a little bit trickier. Benny's just looking at it. Oh, he's getting nice and close there. He's just got to keep him putting that pressure on there. And they're all piling up behind Price as well. We've got Justin, Stan, and Lim. They're all getting closer behind that Lexus as well. But the problem is that Lexus is going to just drive out of this last corner and make it extremely hard for those Lambos to get past. I reckon even without the extra belts that those guys have got on, it's hard. I mean, we know that Lexus. I know that Lexus too well. That thing is a rocket ship in a straight line. Going into turn one, gets it on the picks. They go out nice and wide. Everyone's doing a very good job. Not too many mistakes. I expected to see a few more mistakes, especially running this close to each other. But no, they're all driving very well. Same as at the front. Kyle hasn't made too many mistakes. It's only half a second behind Jaden as well, who's doing a fantastic job. Stay out there, son. Get that banana over the line. We want to see that banana across the line in first place tonight. Oh, a bit wide for Davies. But we know that the car can handle it out there, so he should be pretty good. As long as he doesn't tip too much. There is a bump on exit of the curb on the grass. That's the one you've got to watch out for.
Yeah, you don't want to go too far wide as well, because you kind of need to set yourself up into the next corner. But yeah, you can see Price there was hanging on. He was looking a little bit ready. Ooh, as Ryan King is already been passed by Vinter going into Lurkop, so potentially there was a move on or maybe a mistake. I'm sure we'll find out shortly, but Vinter is ahead. I'm sure Ryan King will want to do something about it. He's eyeing up a move going into the hairpin of Crocodiles. Vinter covers it off, but goes wide, goes very wide there, and he will still be on the exit, but got enough drive on the outside line to get away with it, as was Ryan King in the Porsche catching a little bit of curb. You can get away with a little bit, but Ryan King, I think, will be a little bit frustrated to lose that position, and it is a little bit of a lost horse race, because I'm not sure he'll have the ponies to do something much about it. And well, coming onto the straight, he's sticking close to the BMW, but the Porsche's brakes are good, but they're not good enough to send it from that far back. He'll stick with him close as Price Davis is steaming in, and I think got away with it, but he's gone wide. I think he's gone very deep, and the Lamborghini there of Griffin trying to get a move done, but I'm not sure he got it done, unfortunately, George.
Yeah, no, I believe Ryan made that mistake under the braking. He might have hit that inside curb, allowed him to go a bit wide. Benny got onto the brakes nice and early, turned it in and just got the drive out. That's what's cost him. Again, that's what you need to do. Is you've got to be in their mirrors. You've got to get them. You got to be if you can get them to look in the mirrors and you miss that braking point, that's what can happen. And here you go. Here we go. We're having a look. Let's see what happens. Did he hit the inside curb? No, he just got a very bad run out of the S's. And must have come in earlier than that because obviously Benny must have gotten a better run. I reckon he might have clipped a bit of curb, or he may have been going just a little bit wide and he didn't want to get the track limits, and that just compromised him. Now this is letting Davis to catch up to him as well now, put some more pressure on him. Is this the telltale sign of the Porsche? Lower fuel, just gets a bit unsettled. He's going under brakes, he's looking at it. No. King's got it again, so he's kept it. Going into the shooter, got to make sure we don't hit that curb. Oh, he's gone super wide there. Is that going to let us there? Sorry, Justin, to get onto him? No, just wasn't close enough to capitalise. When you go out that wide, the car slows down. Oh, with 4 minutes to go, we've got about, tipping about another 3 more laps for the leaders, who are going just into turn 1, turn 2 now. They're just separating themselves a little bit. This is where they're going to start making mistakes. Oh, it gets very close, Ryan, there. He's trying to put as much pressure as he can. Get in those mirrors, son. Get in those mirrors and see if he can make a mistake. But Benny's a seasoned veteran here. He doesn't make too many mistakes, especially in that Beamer. That Beamer's a very nice car to drive, and we know it's pretty rapid as well and pretty stable. It's a very neutral car on most of these tracks, so I don't think he's going to make too many mistakes. And I think everyone's settled down again with a couple more laps to go through Sunset. Now here we go through those S's. Justin's getting a little bit closer. Can he get him to make a mistake? Turning into the S's. Clips it through. Does he get the bit of a run? No. That Lexus has got a good run out of there, so it's going to be another lap before they can do anything else. Oh, this is getting interesting with a couple more laps to go, that's for certain, Cam.
Yeah, just over 3 minutes left on the clock, and I think despite Vincent getting that position from the Porsche, I'm not sure he'll catch Ibrahim Bank in time. There's about 3.5 seconds. You can just see him going out of shot just up ahead. And Ryan King is sticking with him pretty close. He's a slide there for the Lexus, and unfortunately Griffin getting a slide as well, just trying to avoid and get a line there. And unfortunately for him, that might have been one of his best chances, as he kind of just has to wait for a mistake. Does Justin Griffin on the Lamborghini of the Lexus? And it looks like these guys have managed to ditch Daryl Lim, who's actually lost a position to J Rad, so definitely fallen back a bit. There's been some shenanigans back there. Griffin's also down to P13, so all going on. But Jaden Rondinella, just over 2 minutes left on the clock. Carl Burt still sticking close, just as close as he's been all race. Half a second is right there, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Jaden doing a good job as they spear into Sunset Bend. And appropriately so for this time of day, 5:30 p.m. in this part of Gauteng, South Africa, as we see how they run going into the S's and up into Lurkop as well. Both guys are pretty evenly matched. It's tricky to get a good line through this corner, but you can really plant the throttle early, especially in the Nissan, and you let the boost just build up into the right point when you pretty much got the car in a straight line, so you can get on the throttle quite early using the turbo lag to an advantage. And sticking pretty close. It's impressive to stay this close around this track. It is not the easiest track to follow. As Jaden likes an early turn in line and kind of goes a little bit wider out and has to sweep across a little bit more. And he's locked the front brake. He saw it actually lock up there, and he runs wide, but he'll have the better exit. Unfortunately, running wide there, and Carl Billett just got a little bit of his hopes up there, but unfortunately couldn't do much about it. But Jaden locking up going into the Crocodiles, but got away with it. It's the thing, you go really wide there. He's gone a little bit squiggly there on the exit, but I think he got away with it as well. Vincent is still ahead of Ryan King, and this will be the last lap. Not this one, but when these guys cross the line, last lap, I think for everyone, as the leaders cross the line with just 1 minute 20 left on the clock. And it's looking pretty good for Vincent to take home P4. Ibrahim Banks kind of in his no man's land. Carl Billett and Jaden Rondinella 2/10 separate at the line. So those guys are so close. But if Carl wants to do something, it has to be now. Same goes for everyone else. If you're going to make a move, we'll see what happens. We're going to replay here. Not replay. Back to live. We're still with live pictures, I should say. As Jaden still leading, going through Sunset. And we'll see how they go run through the S's again, going into Clubhouse. But yeah, Kyle, you might be thinking what could have been a little bit of a lock-up there. I think the saw Jaden kind of had that early turning line going through the fast sweeping corner and had to spear the car back over to the racing line and might have just induced that lock-up a bit. But he just got a few more corners, half a lap to go, going into low-cop, getting it nicely stopped, sweeping it in. You've got to carry a good amount of speed to carry the speed for the second part to get a run down this straight. And looking pretty good. It was ranking really on the front of the back of Isaac Price Davis as well. He's right there. Vincent are just up ahead, but they're all even kill going down to Mineshaft at present. Things looks even Steve for the leaders. No change there as they go into Cheetah. Ryan King having to look in his mirrors a little bit as Price Davis had another look there, and he's still real close with Ben Vincent there. One mistake at this last corner, but Jaden Rondinella, no mistake for him. He's going to cross the line as the winner for the first round of this sprint round. And he's looking pretty good. All these guys get through Ingwe pretty well. Vincent will be P4 and Ryan King P6. Not a bad fight for those guys. They were very close fought, but no real change there at the end there.
And I've noticed that Mr. Red's gained a position on Daryl Lim. He's gone from 9th to... Oh, hang on a minute. Have we lost him?
No, something's happened. He's fallen down to P14 on the last lap somewhere as well.
No, what are you doing, son? No. Oh, he made a mistake. Surely not. 23, did he? I didn't see yellow flag come up.
Something may have happened, that's for sure. Definitely on that last lap because he was ahead of Lim a lap or so ago, ever so slightly. So he was in the prime position to take a reverse grid pole, but there was a moment.
Replay coming.
15-second penalty for 819, and that might be an indicator of what we're about to see. Daryl Lim's white McLaren just in the back there, and going into Crocodiles. That's A-OK, but Daryl Lim just hits the back, releases the brake, and just hits the back. That is probably on the last lap, and I'm sure J-Rad will be quite fuming about that one.
Yeah, he definitely would be fuming about that one. Okay, so top 10 will not need to go out to qualify now. They'll all stay out there. So everyone from 11th onwards will go out to qualify to rejig your position. And obviously the guys who finished in top 10, whoever finished in first, which is obviously Jaden, will start in 10th spot in race 2. So we've got about an 8-minute qualifying session. Here's the results. Yeah, Jaden's first, followed by Kyle, Ibrahim, Ben, Ryan, Price Davies, Justin Griffin, Stan Boscovich, and Yao and Andy Bishop got into the top 10. So that means Andy will start from pole position and everyone will be reverse grid with Yao in second. Oh, my heart feels for, Mr. Rad. Yeah, he's always been on the receiving end, unfortunately, with a couple of tags. So I'll be tipping there's going to be a little bit of a penalty coming the way of Daryl Lim in the second race, I'm assuming, or in qualifying. I think they might serve it in the qualifying, wouldn't they? Not sure.
There was they sent the penalty in at the last minute of the race. We saw a 15-second penalty come for 819, and I'd be imagining that was for that incident. So, yeah, no, he won't carry a penalty over. He'll just obviously kind of lose a lot more positions than he already did in the first race. So yeah, it was kind of a bit of a funky one from Daryl Lim. He kind of made the corner. He was following it line, and then kind of. Not sure if he just got on the power earlier, Rad maybe didn't get on the power, or he just kind of released the brakes and just coasted into the back of the Lexus. And it was enough to spin them both round as well.
Yeah, unfortunately that's ACC physics. By rights, they shouldn't have spun the car in real life. If you just tap a car in the middle of the bumper bar, it just pushes you along a little bit. But unfortunately with sim racing, with the physics, it can cause you to spin. So obviously, all right, we're on with Blake here. Be finalised. This should be the hot lap. She should be on a hot lap now. Let's see what transpires, how she goes through here. Going through the S is pretty good. Gets on the power nice and early. You drift it out wide as long as you don't tip the grass to invalidate your lap. You're pretty good. So coming up the top here. I can't remember the name of that corner, so I just call it the hairpin for myself. down coming into Crocodile. Once he gets into Crocodile.
Oh, this one's Crocodile technically. This little hairpin, and I think that's just a race control button, just catching up on the penalties as well. But I believe that will be for the previous race, obviously not for this qualifying or the next race, I would imagine. But Blake Duras going on a pretty tidy lap. So you always got to get a banker in, just do a tidy lap, and then you can just push. And then if usually like me, your banker lap ends up being your fastest lap, because the more you push, the worse you drive. I tend to do at least. But looks like she didn't set a lap, so that may have been invalid.
Could have been invalid, or could have been the installation lap, depending on when they come out, because obviously the temperature has dropped just a little bit, but they might have all been adjusting their pressures. That means that they've probably gone out a little bit later, so you're only going to get about 4 laps in total. Let's have a look. Stockton, any of these on flyers at the moment? Let's see what happens if they start crossing the line. Yeah, Stockton should be the first one across the line. Yeah, 41.8. That's that was Nicholson. Sorry. Yeah, we Stockton 0.8 behind. Then if Everingham, and then the rest of them are going to all start coming through soon. It's going to take a little bit of time to catch up, because obviously there's a few cars in the pits there waiting for them. 0.12 up, coming good, coming into Sunset. Can he maintain that? Turning in. You just got to wait for the car to drift. Once you got that front end, you just hold the throttle. The Ferrari around here is generally a fairly good car, if I'm not mistaken. I have driven the car around here a few times, and it is quite handy around here. That's for certain. Oh, I just lost a little bit coming out of, obviously, Sunset and into the left-hander there. May have locked up the brakes a little bit. Gone a little bit wide. It's compromised again. Like I said, you can't just get the car. You can't force this track. Forcing this track is not good. Here we are on with Simpson. 0.4 up, 0.5 up. Yeah. Comes out of Sunset nice and clean. Bernard. 0.3 behind. He's got 0.2 up. Can he get through the S's here? Probably no. Just bled a little bit. Just listen a little bit. The Lambo, surprisingly, if you get in there good, you get a good drive. But if you just miss that quarter slightly, ugh, that's all I can say is ugh. Blake on a hot lap at the moment, 0.5 up, increasing, getting close to 0.6 under brakes, goes nice and wide, turns it in nice and early. Can he get on? Can she get onto the power? Yes, she does. Oh, definitely gained another 2/10 coming out of there into the S's. Can she turn it in nicely and get onto the power nice and early and just drive out of the corner using the ripple strip to rotate the car? Yes, she has maintained that 0.7. This is a very good lap. Absolutely cracking of a lap. 0.8 under brakes. Can she get onto the power and drive with not much wheel spin, not much oversteer? Maintains, it just gains a hair's breadth. Going into Crocodile. Can she get it under the picks? Slow and fast out, go as wide as you can, tighten it in, and then just power out, just clips the curb nicely. Yes, gains a fair bit of time there, 0.9. Through, just clipped the curb a little bit, but hasn't hurt too much into the last corner. Can she get the drive out? Can't go too wide, just take a little bit of curb and keep the car straight as possible, maintain. Yes, she has. Almost 0.9 up, and into second spot by 0.015. But she's got another lap under her belt. Let's see, John Red, Mr. Red there is very, very close, 0.055. Hasn't gained any time there. Losing a bit of time. Let's see what happens going into Crocodile. Can he gain that time? Doesn't he? Just needs to, not even a cough. A cough will get you into P1. Does it gain it? No. Oh, just bled a bit of time coming out, just a little bit of wheel spin, overdriving it, but has got enough time to actually do one more lap. So let's see what happens on the next lap. Going down the grid, see if there's anybody else there that might be going up. Bernard, 0.2 up. That, yes, this will get him up a little bit. Let's see what happens here. Coming into Cheetah. Oh, a bit wide. Oh, lost it.
Oh,
That's
no.
into the pits. That's
Oh
it.
dear. I was gonna say his race can only go up from race 1, but his qualifying say hasn't gone the way he would have wanted. Currently sitting P5, which will net him P15 on the grid. Yeah, not too ideal. It's getting a bit of a wobble there as Blake got a big slide, mid corner slide there, and didn't do her too many favors, but she is 3/10 in hand. Looking really good. We'll definitely snatch pole, getting up to 4/10 on the exit of Ingway, and we'll run down to the line in the Porsche. Cool attempt, so everyone's going to go a little bit quicker. It does go into provisional P1, and looking pretty good to cement that. Nate James finishes his lap P4 at present. There's still a few cars out there still to finish their laps. J-Rad as well. I think a driver going very deep at Lurkop, and we can see the unfortunate punishment there did not improve. Stockton as well got a 10th in hand going into Cheetah. Nicely done as well. Just still floating around that 1/10 up and going through Ingway. And you don't want to get on the paddock too early. You want to get on it early, but you don't want to run too wide, and then you have to kind of steer the car more and get that TC to kick in. Stockton does go quicker, but no real improvement. Nicholson, I don't think improved either, will be net P2 as well. Those two will make up the front row behind the top 10, but it will be, I believe, the Tyrrell colours of the McLaren. Make that make sense. I believe Andy Bishop will be net pole, but the race director will do their magic to sort things out. They'll call out the people to go first on the reverse grid, and then once they're all done, the rest of the field will join them as well. I expect, like usual with these reverse grids, because we do it manually, well, we do it all manually, but the leader is technically a little bit behind, so we'll have an even shorter run down to turn 1.
Yes, because you've got to wait until the actual physical leader of the race, who in this case would be Jaden.
Blake.
Yeah,
Technically.
Yeah.
For the game, it thinks Blake is on pole, so but they'll be down in P11.
Yeah, so they've got to wait until they physically cross the line. So yeah, it's a shorter run. Sometimes can cause a little bit more mayhem going into turn 1, so we'll just see what happens there. They're all going to be finalising their, obviously, tyre pressures, make sure they got the tyres right. If they're going to tweak it, not too many people tweak their setups. They're generally comfortable with it. But yes, the track temperature has dropped. Air temperature's dropped by at least 2 degrees, and the track temperature has actually dropped a fair bit. That's, if I'm not mistaken, that's dropped around about 8 or 9 degrees from the first race. So it's going to make it very interesting for the tyre pressures and what they're going to do with them.
Yeah, should be expecting things to go even quicker. Cool attempts. I believe the race is run all on the same day, and this is race is only taking place 2 hours in game time after the first race, which was around 5 p.m. You can see at the top of the tab is 7 p.m. now, so it'll get a little bit darker as well. It's right at the point of dusk, so the sun will be going away and the lights will be coming on ever so slightly, but it is only 25 minutes. It'll be interesting to see how things go. Thank you again, obviously, to Thermaltake as our sponsor for this series, doing a great job for helping us run this one as well. And thank you all to the OOR patrons. I appreciate you all, helping us run this series. Of course, we'll have later tonight iRacing as well. I believe Tim Gobe and Stevie Ty will be commentating later tonight, not tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we'll have LMU WEC and Split Red back here at KYALAMI as well at the usual times, 7:30 AEST, kicking things off for LMU WEC with the hypercars. GT3 cars will race at Monza. It's a bit like KYALAMI if you squint, but thinking in that way, maybe we should let's bring multi-class to KYALAMI. Oh dear, well, that'll be interesting, wouldn't it? Sweeping around the outside, some of the corners as the net leader, the real leader. You can see the blue McLaren there sets off as his name has been called first, as he will be the leader as we sort things out. A few more cars as well. I think those 2 Lamborghinis of Justin Griffin and Stan Baskobas will be eyeing things up to try and recover. I think they didn't make much position, but maybe they knew that they didn't have to push too hard because they'll be in a good spot for this second race.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be putting a lot of pressure on Andy Bishop, so to see if they're going to make a mistake, and they're just sorting themselves out. They normally just go down to around about turn 1. Then they'll tell them to stop and wait so they can all get in line. Once they get in line, then they'll obviously get them up to about 120 kilometres an hour. There you go, going into turn 1. They've just told the leader to stop and wait. Everyone is in ghost mode, so it shouldn't affect the cars too much here. We don't. Where are you going, Andy? Slow down, big fella. Oh, it's not often he's out in front there. He's getting excited. Look, the problem is he's a very quick RC racer, the old Andy Bishop. Very, very quick. I can give you that much. And when he gets out in front, mate, he wants to make sure he preps those tyres the way he wants them. So, come on, Bishop, get out there. You need to have a little bit of luck. He's had a little bit of... the lights are on. Geez, ACC does look fantastic with the lights on as well. You get the good reflection on the track. You can see, you know, the amount of sheen on the track. It looks like it's got a bit of moisture. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit interesting. Sunset, as it's called, the reason being is that when the sun starts to set, it is definitely in your eyes. It makes it a little bit tricky as you come out and get into that left-hander. They're going to be maintaining 120 kilometres an hour until they get closer down to Crocodile, and then they'll go double file. So, what's your predictions here? What do you think's going to happen? Who do you think can get the biscuits here? Do you think Andy can get it right to the end, or do you think there's going to be a fair bit of pressure from Yao and obviously Stan and Justin and so on?
I think Bishop and Yao will put up a fight, but I think Baskobas and Griffin will see their chance. They got to go forward because otherwise the quick cars behind will start coming towards them, like Billet and Rondinella, Bank as well.
I've got a quick question here. How come Stan's in front of Justin? I thought Justin finished in front of Stan in the last race.
It was Griffin ahead. It was Baskobas kind of just followed him suit the whole race. I think it was just letting his teammate just followed his teammate home on that one. But it will be technically in front, or they'll be starting side by side, but we will have that inside line going to turn 1. As we're getting ready to round the final corner, the outside line needs to make sure they're all lined up. There's a Bishop.
Slow down, Andy, slow down, don't get
settle down. And it's a little bit of jaggering as things are not in an ideal position, and it'll be a longer wait as usual. So we'll be waiting for those 5 red lights for quite a bit. It's 7 p.m. here in South Africa at the wonderful Kyalami, and we're still waiting for green flag. It'll be any time now. Initialized, and we're already green, and it's a bad start for Andy Bishop. Did not get the reaction he needed. Wesley out will inherit the lead. Justin Griffin going through. Vinton having to look up the inside, covered over by Andy Bishop on the inside. Do they all get it stopped? Yes, they do. And Griffin takes the lead as well from Wesley Yao, ever so slightly, but does secure that one. Bishop trying to make places back, and we'll be looking at the back there of Wesley Yao as Rondinella, and there's a spin. It's one of the Why Not cars. Who is it? It's Baskobas. Oh dear, the championship leader going for an absolute mare there between turns 4 and 5, and be right at the back of the grid. No safety car at present, but it is going to be Baskobas at the back of the field right now. But his teammate Justin Griffin leading the way ahead of Wesley Yao, followed by Bishop, Ryan King behind, and Jaden Rondinella with an excellent start from P10 all the way into P5, I believe. And a great start for him. Vincent just behind him, I believe, in the BMW. He and him were going side by side as Baskobas had that moment. But it was a great start for Justin Griffin, going from P3 to P1. But yeah, great start by Loopy, like Mr. Big in chat says, going straight up into P5 and looking pretty good. Kyle Billett, no real improvement from him. P9 at present. Not a good start for Kyle.
No, a fantastic start from Jaden. Cracking start to go from P10 to P5, especially on the first lap. That sort of really helps you trying to get a few more positions as well, because to fight your way through is going to be very, very difficult. Now they're just going to, there's Ryan's gone a bit wide. That's allowed Loopty to jump another position. I reckon he's gotten in front of him, maybe in the 4th spot. Yes, he does. Now, does he get the run? I believe he's going to get the run there. Oh, actually, did he get it? Did he maintain it back or under brakes? Can he get the brakes? Oh, I thought he did have the run on him because I thought he went wide, but obviously either got onto the power just a little bit too hard, but we'll see what happens. He's just going to need to put a lot of pressure on him. We know that Lexus is going to be very, very fast. Oh, you can see a bit of squirming from that Porsche as well. And he's trying to put a fair bit of pressure on Yao now to see if Yao will make a few mistakes as they settle down into the race place. A little bit of sideways action from King there, but he does maintain it. No, those tire pressures are going to be coming up very slow because the track conditions there. The track's actually air and track has dropped a little bit more as well, which is going to make it very interesting over the next 22 minutes. You can see that Justin's just starting to slowly but surely pull away, and the more they fight Yao, Bishop, King and Jaden, he's just going to pull away. Let's have a look. This is going to be into turn one. Stan is in the middle there, gets tapped. What happens here? Oh, 2 into 1 into that turn 2. Just gets a little bit of a tap there, and he clipped the curb. Hit the curb. That's his own mistake there.
Oh, did get a few taps from the rest of the cars. I think Nate James, but yeah, he was giving space. He was close there with Abraham Bank, but unfortunately just hit the curb. And speaking of hitting the curb, Ryan King hits cheated curb and loses at least 2 positions. Vincent and Rondinella go through. Price Davis trying to capitalize as well, holding it around the outside, but there's a slide there for the Porsche, and the Lexus is going to have the drive and the power to surely pull away from the Porsche. And here comes Abraham Bank as well, who actually didn't get a great start, also got caught up in a little bit of the start, and he's going to have a run up the inside of the Porsche as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and Carl Billett has to avoid going into the back of the Porsche. One mistake there costing Ryan King 4 positions and falls all the way down there, I believe, to P8, unfortunately for him. So not a great start whatsoever. And Jaden Runnell, I think, is going for a move on Andy Bishop as well. The McLaren there not getting the best run out of the last corner. Jaden going to hold it around the outside with a good run. They're going to run a little bit wide to get the room back to the McLaren, but even Stevens between going into the next corner, the inside line, Jaden completes that move. An excellent job by him and goes up into net P3 as well. I believe Andy Bishop, definitely had a moment.
Oh, he's got the curb again.
He's got the curb, and he's going for a spin there. He's gone for a spin, hits the back of the wall. The rear wing will definitely be broken under the diffuser, and unfortunately, our net pole position, and unfortunately, is going to have an absolute no victory for him whatsoever. Unfortunately for Andy Bishop there.
Andy. Oh, well, there's always next week. Son. Just those...
Who else are you got to big up next?
Oh, jeez. Don't worry. So, as I said before, my previous streams and all that sort of stuff, he has got a book, and it's got my name written all over it, and every time I say something about it, it goes into that book, trust me. He's on to version 3 at the moment.
Volume 2 at this point, surely.
No. He's definitely in volume 3 because he and I go back a long way, so we're into volume 3. So, and trust me, I will be giving it to him later as well. All right, back on with Ryan. They've just got to settle down a little bit. They're just pushing a little bit too hard, and there's obviously more mistakes now. Is it because the track's dropping in temperature, which means the tyres are not coming up the temperature to get the maximum amount of grip? Or is it because it's night time and they're just making a few more mistakes because the car's actually a little bit quicker? Time will tell. We know that obviously Justin's gone. Yao's only half a second in front of Jaden. Jaden's going to try to put a lot of pressure, and then it'll be interesting to see if he can get past him as quick as he can to see if he can close that 2 seconds up to Justin. I believe he's got the pace that over the next 19 minutes he could catch up to Justin and put a bit of a race up there for the lead again and do a back-to-back victory, but we'll see what happens. We're on with Ibrahim behind Cole. Cole's made a few with a slow start. He didn't make too many positions. He's making a few positions there with a couple of mistakes. Can he get onto the power additive here? We know that the car's pretty quick, so straight line speed is not going to be an issue. And then you got Ryan as well, who's fallen behind Ibrahim as well. He keeps on going backwards. Must be making just a few too many mistakes there. The old Ryan just needs to tidy it up a little bit. Going into Crocodile.
Yeah, and Jaden Rondinella has already gone Wesley Yao at some point during this lap as well. Yeah. So already up into P2, 3 seconds off the back of Justin Griffin. And instead, Griffin really needed to get the lead, and he did a good job to get the lead from the start and needed to pull away, but I think maybe Jaden Rondinella's pace is gonna prove a little bit of a sticking thorn. He's already actually closed in a little bit this lap, so maybe Justin's made a mistake there, but Justin needs to get on it because the Lexus, once it'll get close enough for a move with that extra power, it'll facilitate that even better for it. And we saw last race, it doesn't work the other way around with the Lamborghini having to do the chasing. But yeah, Jaden doing an excellent job to get up into P2 from P10 as well with the reverse grid top 10. And looking pretty good right now to get at least P2. And with still 17 minutes left, he knows he's got the time. He can afford to not go complete banzai out every lap. We've got a replay here. So Wesley Yao going into Le Cop, and it's a Le Cop braking zone yet again. He thankfully just gets it stopped before the grass, but that made that move pretty easy there for Jaden, I have to say. It didn't require too much effort on his part, but that's all that matters sometimes, just to be in the right place at the right time to capitalize on the error there. But yeah, unfortunately Wesley Yao, but he's been doing a good job though. Wesley right now is still holding down P3. He's got Price Davis behind, who does actually have the fastest lap, so Price Davis showing a lot of pace as well. I think Vintner actually lost a pace to Price Davis a few laps ago when everything was kicking off, so a little bit surprised to see that, but I'm sure Price Davis will want a bit of a better result from race one. But we'll see how he does on the back of Wesley Yao. But yeah, the cold attempts might make things a little bit more edgy. I think, with those cold attempts, they can afford to push a little bit harder. The cars are a little bit in a better window, but that kind of just incites people to push even harder as the pace, overall pace, and everyone around, goes up a notch when the cooler temps. And I'm sure the Porsche probably maybe liking things a little bit better as well, but the Lexus just, I don't know, it doesn't seem too affected by tires at some times. Hard to say really, but as they go through turn one, looking pretty okay at present. Carl Billett and Ibrahim Banks still fighting out there back in P6 and 7 as well. Your replay here. Thank you very much, Glenn. So yeah, I think this is what I'm talking about. You can see Vinternet was in front in the Falcon BMW and catches the cheetah curve yet again. Another one claims it and does manage to recover just ahead of Carl Billett. Just lucky enough not to lose more than one position there.
Yeah, cheetah, very, very lucky there, because generally when you hit cheetah there, it always throws you up against the fence there and does create a fair bit of damage to the car. So he saw that he was going to clip it, got onto the brakes nice and early to slow it down, and got and kept it to only lose one position. Lucky they all separate a little bit. But he's going to settle back into it again. It doesn't do any damage to the car other than just clipping the curb and losing that position. So he'll get back onto the pace there and try to put some pressure on Price. And Price is actually trying to put a fair bit of pressure on Yao now. Oh, it's going onto the narrow line, under brakes. Can he get it in there? Side by side. Yes, he does. He made it. Well done. Good move there. Yeah, I didn't defend too hard, saw the pass coming and said, look, I'm not, it's just a bit wide, unsettled the car a little bit, but it didn't affect it. So comes onto the front straight, and now can he try to close up on Jaden, which I don't think so. Jaden's trying to make leeways into Justin, but they're status quo at the moment for the last two laps. They've still got that 2.6 second gap between first and second. So we're watching Vintner again. He's going to put a little bit more pressure onto Yao. Can Yao just maintain, not make too many mistakes? Some of these drivers, obviously, with the reverse grid, are normally down at the back there a little bit, and you've got faster guys putting a lot of pressure. And this is actually good practice for these guys and gals to handle the pressure, and it just evolves your racing to be a little bit smoother and faster. And if you don't make, it's gone a bit wide. No, he's got the inside line there, so he should maintain that. It's going to try to go around the outside, but it does actually set you out pretty wide, and it does compromise you going down the straight. As I was saying, if you can sort of keep the racing line there and keep quick, it does help hone your skills a little bit, especially against the quicker guys that have behind you, putting a little bit of pressure. Pressure's good. If you can handle it, you go a long way in getting very, very quick into sim racing. It doesn't matter what form of sim racing, it's all the same. It's like racing a real car. It's a very tactical in what you need to do. That's why I say a couple of times you need to get into their mirrors, see if you can spook them, see if you can say, keep an eye on the mirrors. Are they going to do this move? Are they going to do that? And you've got to try to set them up. So I tend to do that a fair bit. try to set in the mirrors as best I can, and then try to set it up when I can. Coming into the last corner, oh, Vintner's looking at, yeah, you just got to get that run out of there. Can you get the power? We know the Porsche's going to have good traction coming out of the corner going into turn 1. Is he close enough? No, I don't think so. He's close enough. Nah, definitely not close enough to be able to send it into turn 1 with Coles going, I'm licking my chops here. If these two guys get into a bit of trouble there, I might be able to gain 2 spots and jump myself into 4th. So he's going to try to put a lot of pressure as well. Stay in those mirrors. Basically close the gap if he finishes this year. Oh, here we go, going into sunset. Have they closed the gap? Yes. No, Jaden has fallen off. He's lost about a second, may have made a mistake because obviously everyone behind him has actually started to close up as well. I believe Jaden might have made a bit of a mistake there somewhere.
Yeah, it's looks like Griffin's cemented his pace a little bit. I think Breno might have been alluding to the gap between Griffin and Buscobus in the championship, I was to guess, because obviously Buscobus is down there in P14. He's slowly making his way back through the field after, unfortunately, that error kind of pretty much all on his own at the start of the race. But yeah, we'll see what it is. Obviously, we've got drop rounds included as well, and I have to say thank you to the people who put their hands up last weekend to run the commentate over the rerun races as well, because we had iRacing and Split Yellow. We got a replay here of Jaden going into Cheetah. And I get a feeling it is a blip, and there we go, and he got away with it. Yep, and that was an easy second, and you'll see obviously Price Dev was caught up massively as well. Definitely, if you want to clip that curb, do it in a front engine car. Because we're seeing every other type of car tends to not, doesn't come back to earth so smoothly as well. But yeah, I think we'll see what happens. Obviously, what was I saying? We had the rerun rounds. iRacing and Split Yellow were rerun last week due to issues iRacing and server stuff for Split Yellow as well. So I do appreciate the people who put their hands up for that last week. Pretty good to get those rerun. Pray we don't have any more issues. Oh, as Wesley puts a car in the middle of the track, Vincent going from right to left and tries to get up the inside going into Sunset, but he's not able to get it done. But a better run going through Sunset will be on the outside again for Clubhouse. Tries to keep his nose there to have a bit of an overlap. Wesley gives him the space on the outside, but he'll struggle to roll it around the outside surely. But Wesley gets it all spun on the curve, and they make contact, and they both spin and find the wall. Oh, an absolute disaster there for Wesley Yao and Ben Vinter. Vinter chucks it in reverse and plans to get going, but substantial front damage from both cars there. I saw Wesley had a moment there going on the first part of the S's, and they both kind of just met in the middle. Oh dear, I'm sure a replay is coming, but both of them fallen back so far, and quite a far ways. I'm not too sure. I think they're down in P13 and 14, so there'll be a few freebies for Buscobus and the rest, but that'll be an absolute race not to remember for those guys.
Yeah, just caught the inside curb there, bounced the car a little bit, which caused it to go to the right. The clip, Vintner, it wasn't. It was a mistake, obviously hitting the curb there, but oh mate, I feel sorry for him. Side by side going into those corners, he's always fought with danger because it really tightens up on those two corners there. And as I said, Kyle was behind there licking his chops going, let's see what happens. Here we go. Sitting there behind Vintner there as they go in. He's trying to go around the outside, just clips the curb. There it is. That's that little bit of a wobble we were talking about. Just clipped the curb to get it to go exit stage right, and just enough to hit the car. Oh, the car, because it's unloaded in that corner, it doesn't take much of a touch there to get it to rotate. Oh, what a shame, because that was some good racing there for a little bit.
Yeah, you're on the money on that one. It doesn't take much. Once the car's that loaded up, just a little bit of tap will unsettle the car. And I think just reading that situation, I think Wesley Yao may have just got a little bit surprised that he was trying to hold it around the outside was Ben Vinter, and I think he might have just been a bit aggressive on the turn in, because it looked like he had a slide before he even got to the curb, and as soon as he kind of found the curb, it was just Unfortunately, going to spit him wide as Carl Billup and Ibrahim Bank getting pretty close for P3 and 4. So that was I think that was P3, P4, and P5. So I think Carl Billup was. I can't remember if he was actually behind. I think he was behind Vintonet and the Porsche there of King. So that's cleared those roadblocks for him as well. So looking pretty good, and finds himself behind another Lexus like he did in race 1. But it's Ibrahim Bank instead of Jaden Rondinella, and we'll see how this one plays out. That's for sure. No change at the front. Justin Griffin still about 3.5 to 4 seconds ahead of Rondinella, but the pipe for P4 looking pretty close.
Ooh,
And there we go.
Coming through it, yeah.
I think that was unfortunately just a little bit of inexperience and being a factor there a little bit, and unfortunately with dire consequences. No malicious obviously intent, and I don't think it was a really careless from either of them. It was just unfortunately a mistake, and that's sometimes how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's unfortunately sometimes you need to take the aggressive move to go around the outside to overtake, especially on some tracks, and sometimes it can catch you into the unfortunate position that if the car on the inside makes that little bit of a mistake, you can be taken out. But we'll move on with that one. Now we're looking at Cole, who's trying to put a lot of pressure on Ibrahim, and that's what you do. Or saw going into turn 1, you can see Cole just sort of swerved out a little bit, just to try to catch the eye to see if the young fellow would make a mistake. And that's what he's got to do. He's just got to put as much pressure as he can on him. Again, he's actually been driving pretty well this season, especially with the Lexus. So I don't believe he's going to make too many mistakes. So that's why you've got to try to put as much pressure as you can, get as close as you can, get him to look in those mirrors, see if he's going, can Cole get a good run out? But look at this Lexus just pull out. You see the this has just squirmed a little bit, and then we know that Lexus is more than a match for that Nissan on any straight. So that's why a lot of people have gravitated to it, because it is a very, very solid car. Surprisingly, it's in the right hands. It is a rapid car, especially on the Nordschleifer. That's why they had to put a restrict on it. It was ridiculously quick around there. With the only car that I knew that would overtake a Ford down the main straight there, going into the last corners before the front straight. They backed on with Loopy. Has he closed that gap to Justin? No, not really. They're just still really maintaining. Yeah, and Price is putting a little bit of pressure there. Maybe those tyres are just losing a little bit of pressure. The more curves you hit, you start losing a little bit of air pressure, not necessarily punch, it just pops a little bit of air from the between the tyre and the rim, and if the pressure starts to drop a little bit, they cool down a little bit, and you just don't get the right amount of grip. The ideal temperatures around most tracks is 26.9 to get the optimum grip out of those tyres. Oh, could I see a chicken under the bonnet of... Yes, I can. I can see chicken under the bonnet of Mr. Vintner's car, unfortunately. And we see that Stan's made himself back into 10th spot with that spin. He was Stone Mother's last, got himself back into 10th spot. That's a fairly good drive from him, with 1.5 seconds to go before he gets up to Simpson, see if he can put some pressure onto him as well.
Yeah,
going into Cheetah. Yeah.
Pretty good job by him overall to get back into P10 as well. I think Wesley Yale came into potentially service penalty, but I think he has exited the server as well. So yeah, not too surprisingly, there's no more race after this. So yeah, bad night, I guess, worse, unfortunately for him, because I think he was doing a very good job until that point. But unfortunately, that's what just happened as well. But Busco recovers to P10, so I'm sure he'll definitely lose some points to Griffin overall in the championship, obviously pending what happens with the drop rounds. Stockton right now coming at P12, so not bad by him. While Billet definitely still sticking close to Ibrahim Bank. I think in this part of the track, I think the Nissan is definitely a little bit stronger, or Kyle is a little bit stronger, but towards the end through the last couple of corners, I think the Lexus does edge ahead a little bit. We'll see how things go. We're just over 3 minutes on the clock, and Griffin still leading the way, 3.5 seconds to Rondinella. That gap kind of stabilizing, a few tenths here and there, going back and forth. But yeah, Price Davis really actually come on song quite a bit for this second race. Kind of ironed out quite a few of his mistakes. Ibrahim in P4 as well. These two are actually the leaders in the silver class championship as well. Could argue Price Davis deserves a spot in there, as to say the least. Considering his definitely he's got the speed for it. I think if he ironed out a few things as well, a few other things in his overall toolbox of racecraft, he could definitely be at least a silver, that's for sure. And it's obviously it's all considered when they decide what your rankings are. You're pro, silver, pro am. It's not just all raw pace.
No, it's definitely not all raw pace. It all comes down to where you finish. I'd probably push myself up into silver probably a fraction too early, but I thought to myself, yeah, what the hell? I was qualifying in the top 10, so I thought I'll go in there. Has it made me suffer a little bit? Yeah, but you learn from it. It doesn't matter if you're pro-am or silver. I don't chase championships. I'm just trying to chase to get a better skill level. Because they're both going wild there. They're both pushing very hard out through the sunset. With 2 minutes to go, so potentially one more lap from here. Yep, there'll definitely be the one more lap. The next lap will be the last lap. They're just got to try to maintain it. Come on, Kyle. Put the pressure on Ibrahim. And Ibrahim, come on. Keep it on the track. Don't make a mistake. Make him earn that overtake. Nice, clean driving, accelerating out. Going down into Crocodile. Slowing fast out. You can just see that, the Nissan's quick, but that Lexus is just as quick. Oh, no. I thought it might have been a bit of a slide there. Under brakes, they're both matching each other. And then getting onto the power here, they just drifted a little bit wide, setting themselves up for Cheetah. They don't clip Cheetah. They've missed it. They're right on the curb beautifully, going into the last corner. And I'd be tipping they've started their final laps. Let's see if any mistakes happen from here. Up front is obviously done and dusted. This is probably the closest battle I can see at the moment. I see Stan's overtaking Simpson. He's moved himself into 9th spot. Too far back to do anything about Blake, so keep an eye on that. Oh, here goes Cole's starting to put a lot of pressure on him now. He's going to try to stay nice and close. Japanese power. I think Cole just went a little bit wide, compromised himself. He could have got a bit of aero wash behind Ibrahim. Is he close enough now to put that extra bit of pressure? Probably not. He has lost a few tenths there. So he's just over half a second now, so this is going to make it very difficult for him to put a lot of pressure. He's going to need to rely on a mistake by Ibrahim. But I don't believe he's going to make a mistake. He's been driving very well, hasn't made too many mistakes. So, good driving, young fella. Good driving. Oh, look at the flames coming out of the side of that Nissan. He's got the pedal to the metal. He's trying to extract as much power. But I think Cole's settled in and gone, look, I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm just going to settle in there for fifth spot, I should say. Pretty good considering where he started in the race. Had a few incidents there at the front. Jade's nice and wide. Very good run from him, starting in 10th spot, getting himself up into second. Very, very good. And here we go. Justin's coming out of the last corner now. Going to be crossing the line for a victory to get a bit more extra kilos put on that Lambo for the next race. Well done for Justin. Then Jaden's in second. Third for Mr. Davies. Then we've got Bank and Cole coming for fourth and fifth. There you can see Ryan in the background there, so starting to go across the line there. There's Mr. Rad, who's made up a couple of spots after the initial mistake. Well done, Blake, for finishing 8th. Great effort there. Started, if I'm not mistaken, in 11th spot, and then you got Stan Simpson, James, Stockton, Vintner, unfortunately, obviously, with that incident. And there we go, race 2 over. That was very quick, actually. That went through very quick.
Yeah, it did go pretty quick, that second race. And yeah, congratulations to Justin Griffin as well, and Jaden Rondinella. Jaden definitely with the drive of the race, that's for sure, coming from P10 or into P2. Definitely sibed his way through the chaos a little bit, and also got the moves done when he needed them as well. Did an excellent job and kind of been on pace the whole across the weekend as well. So you just wait for Shona's Mustang to finish off as well. The bonnet.
Oh, the chicken under the bonnet on that one too.
Yeah. This was short as well. She'll cross the final corner and cross the line. There'll be 20 runners at the end of this. We lost a few as well. I think we really lost Wesley Yao, and I think Wesley Yao probably went home in shame a little bit, the way things went, unfortunately for him. And yeah, a little bit rough on that one. But do appreciate everyone's overall pretty good race. As I said, KYALAMI's, it's a little bit tricky to get a move done here, but when the moves come, they're pretty entertaining, that's for sure. But it is going to be, we'll quickly run through the race runs because we're a little bit tight for time because iRacing starting immediately. But for race 2, obviously got Justin Griffin from Jaden Rondinella, Bryce Davis overall. And for silver, it'll be Ibrahim Bank from Carl Billett and Blake Griffiths as well for make up the podium. Pro-Am, obviously Bryce Davis again, J-Rad and Ben Simpson as well for a Lexus podium. And Tyler Abraham, Bernard and Shona Fanyers as well will make up the AMs as well for the overall position. But yeah, looking pretty good as well. But yeah, we'll keep this quick and short. Thank you very much, George, as well, for commentating with me tonight. And
no worries, mate. You have a good one. I know that you're going to head off to bed after this one. He was yawning before the start of this, but obviously with the racing we had, this kept you awake and you fired up.
Yeah, definitely. Thankfully, the race was entertaining enough to keep me engaged a little bit. That's more so on me, but do appreciate everyone as well for watching. We'll go to a short intermission, but yep, it'll be it from me, Cameron, and George, as we'll be back shortly with iRacing with Tim and Stevie.
Good.
Hello everyone and welcome to the second stint of Wednesday night racing here on the platforms of OOR. I'm Nathan Daniel, hearing my voice once again this week. It's becoming a bit of just a usual appearance to me, but an unusual appearance with us in the boxes. We've got Stevie Ty with us. Stevie, how are you doing?
Good. I'm doing good. One of my favorite circuits, this one, even though I don't get to drive it. And look, we got Lucas Keys on the webcam. That's a cool touch. I haven't been able to. Yeah, with the webcams. That's actually
we're
great.
getting settled in tonight.
So confirmed he's a living
Since
entity.
I've done this.
He's a living entity and not an alien, so that's nice to know.
That's honestly that eases my soul a little bit. I'm too used to seeing him battling with Benefield in the hypercars too much.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm too used to getting gapped by him for 50 seconds in ACC, so no, it's nice. It's nice to put a name to the face, a face to the name, wherever you want to put it.
Yeah. Oh, who knows? But we're in qualifying at the moment, and it's we're about just under 5 minutes through. Everyone's starting to get their lap times in. I see Struik sitting at the top of the table at the moment. Jeez, I forgot how much I love this street circuit.
No, it's so good. It flows so well. And even usually I'm not a big 90-degree corner person, but I don't know why it just hits at Adelaide Street Circuit. Like, it just really hits home.
It's the walls, man. They're kind of speaking to you of like, come closer. You know you want to.
Yeah.
Just inching that every little millimeter closer to the wall and exit, or
luckily,
add so much to this.
Luckily, the GT3s have enough downforce there for that fast right-hand king to not really have issues.
Yeah. Thankfully, not relying on mechanical grip as much, but
Exactly,
thankfully people are showing us how good this track is already with Hammond.
Yeah.
Taking the provisional pole already. So I don't know much about the people driving here in iRace. I'm still trying to remember who's who and who's driving what. But all I know is after last week we're gonna have a bit of a race on our hands.
A second separating from P1 to P10, so qualifying's really important around here. You can send a few dive bombs around here, but people will be looking to, improve on their times and make sure to start in that top 10.
Yeah, certainly. I don't know if it's just me, but it feels weird not seeing Lucas Keys sitting at the top of the table already. I mean, we're 5 minutes through qualifying, but it feels weird to see.
Well, yeah, I think he's still getting used to it, and he's definitely not got the pace he does on ACC, but I mean, it's not to say that he isn't class of the field here. Like, he's so strong. I think he's clearly the favourite. I don't want to jinx him or anything, but he's definitely one of the top drivers here. And he goes up to P3 there, and those gaps are so tight. We've got a 10th between P1 and P5, so really tight with 4 minutes to go on qualifying.
Yeah, obviously probably someone to watch out for. Patrick Johnson already sitting on the top of the table already. I'm now starting to go through the list and see a lot of names I recognise. So this may be not too hard for me tonight, but there's plenty of chaos set to come ahead of us, so I imagine I'll get confused, probably the same as you. But the way it seems,
No.
like floated themselves at the wall there.
Yeah, a little bit, but yeah, no, there's mostly common names to me. I think I recognise most of them, which is nice. It's nice to know, and I think the pace, I mean, it's not obviously going to be the same. There's a bit of a teammate kind of kerfuffle going on there. Hopefully it doesn't hit the wall with the flashing. All good. Really putting the flashes here, but should be all good. But yeah, common names. Oh, never mind. The flashing's got him. Into the wall he goes. Yeah, yeah. Well, he's got an excuse at least. Like, if I'd been there by myself, I'd be like, yeah, but if you got someone flashing behind you, you'd be like, yeah, you distracted me kind of
Do
thing.
we call papaya rules on that one? I think.
Look, I wouldn't report my teammate. I wouldn't personally, but you never know.
I mean, when you're kind of fighting for every little bit on the track, before the race even starts, I kind of would.
Yeah, no, fair. I'd report him for fun and then laugh as I get the penalty. Because in general, I think that's a penalty with how many times he's hit that flasher button.
I think I counted at least 10 times. I think.
Yeah,
it was
at least 10. Yeah, it was a whole disco light back there. But
disco lights on top of the Corvette. So.
Yeah, exactly. But we see Dylan Smith there putting a big gap to the field. We've been seeing a really tight qualifying, and it still really is. From P2 down to P10 is about less than a second, about 0.5 of a second. But he's put 4/10 on Josh Struik there, which is a really nice lap. And we look at the bottom, it's all yellow sectors, so that's looking pretty safe for now. 2 minutes of qualifying left, so 1 or 2 laps depending on who you are. 1 or 2 laps left. But yeah, everyone's doing yellow sectors. We see Craighill there putting a green sector in the middle, but I mean, people are not really improving right now.
No, but I'm also like looking at the track now. You see some people bunched up, especially there currently where Tim's just come through, a little bit bunched up there, so maybe that also might be affecting them a little bit. Probably not in the way they want because they get a car in front and just maybe clouding their vision a bit too much. But these guys are all pretty relatively close on pace, so maybe they won't have that struggle. Who knows? But I can't say much from not being in the driver's seat. But you can see Lucas Keys now at the moment, just kind of flying through, hoping to try and get that high on board, and he's gonna get there, getting to P2, so shooting that gap back down to the 10s quite literally.
Yeah, no, we see some green sectors now as Mitch Hobbs goes to P7, 6 tenths behind, and Rodriguez goes to P11. So a few improvements there, more green sectors. I think track evolution isn't too big here, but we see Lucas Kesey getting held up by this McLaren. I think this will be his final lap. I'm pretty sure with 45 seconds to go. I don't think he'll make it back to the line, so this would be a very compromised final lap. As Dylan Smith also doesn't improve, he's 2 yellow sectors down, so unless there's a Max Verstappen final sector, I don't think he's going to improve. So it's looking pretty set in stone there, but yeah, some fairly big gaps from P1 to P4, but that midfield is so tight.
We're gonna have a fairly tight midfield battle. You can already see. I think it's pretty much from Hammond all the way down. Everyone's kind of in that pretty much 2 to 3 tenth margin between them all. And even at the top of the table, obviously Chris Taylor's now joined up into P3, so just separating the top 3 by 2 tenths. And Struick just sitting there, just a tenth extra behind him. So we've kind of got our little battle packs forming, and Will Hammond with a purple first sector as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can he pull it together? Green final, but ends up P5, which is still pretty decent. But I think with that purple first, no, it's a delay. He's gone P2 with 8 thousandths of a second to P1. Wow.
What a lap.
Wow, that is a great lap, but he'll be punching himself with those 8 thousandths. He knows he was so close to that P1, which is so important around here, but still an awesome lap to get purple first sector.
I saw that yellow second sector pop up for him, so I imagine if he just managed to even go a little bit faster there, he probably would have been able to get that top spot, but it doesn't quite look like it, as we can see the last few people coming through for their final laps now. So Struick now coming across the line, getting a purple third sector. So he's sitting in P5 at the moment. So good job to him as well for a good final lap. Adam now as well. Beautiful
slide.
Mustang there with a bit of a slide. Coming across P11, unfortunately, obviously that slide did not help him in that third sector, going yellow as well. And I believe that's a bit of a Spitfire livery there on the Mustang. So that's a pretty interesting livery to see there. But it looks like we're still got a few cars coming across near the end of the line, but it looks like they might just be jumping in the pits. Seems you can see the Merc coming in there. But Rodriguez now coming around the track, hopefully trying to go a little bit faster. He's got a green second sector now. Hopefully he can just inch it into that top 10. We'll have to wait and see shortly now as he comes across the main straight. Can he get it just into that top 10 in front of Leo Dreyer? Green third sector. We'll wait till the time and board updates, but doesn't look like he's going to get to the end. You can see him clipping the wall there as well.
Yeah, just clipping the curve. Just a tiny bit.
Just that little bit. So it looks like that's going to round us out for qualifying already. So Dylan Smith taking pole position with an absolute stunning of a lap, and with Hammond behind him as well, doing quite literally less than 1,000th of a second in between the two. Lucas Keys just a 10th behind them as well, with Chris Taylor following shortly behind him in the second row as well. It should be pretty interesting to see. Struick just behind them in P5, and of course Morgan alongside him, with Johnson and Hobbsy sitting there in P7 and 8, and good old Benji Hignett and Leo Dreyer rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, it's really close qualifying with the top 10 within 8 tenths, and that top 5 battle's looking spicy. P1 to P5 within 2 tenths of each other. So that'll be a lot of chop and chaining for positions, because, I mean, qualifying is obviously an indicator for your pace, but in the race, it's can you handle that pressure with for Dylan Smith, can you handle those 4 quick guys behind you?
Yeah, certainly. I feel like this race start's going to definitely probably solidify what might be a few other positions, especially maybe in that front row. If Dylan can get a good start off there and hopefully get some clean air straight off the line, he might be setting himself in for a possible P1 throughout, considering how tight the circuit is and how tightly everyone's just bunched up together.
Yeah, but it won't be easy though. He's got to get a good launch to turn 1 at all. The straight up here isn't too long, so he's got to get a good launch, make sure he's nice and clean to that first chicane, and set him up for a nice, hopefully chill for him, 45 minutes of Adelaide, but it's never a chill 45 minutes around here, is it?
No, it's not going to be. We already saw it in iRacing last week, how chaotic that was with the good old Watkins Glen. I was a bit surprised last week seeing that it was the Cup Series layout, but we're kind of just adding to it with a bit of Street Circuit Adelaide now.
Yeah, pretty much. We're on the kind of small kind of circuits under the 130 kind of times, which is nice. You get a little laps through, but yeah, it opens up a lot of overtaking opportunity because you go through the same overtaking corners a lot of the time. So it's nice. It'll open up. I mean, what we're looking for here, overtaking wise, is probably turn 3 after the chicane, and then obviously that big hairpin after that rider kink on the back straight.
Yeah, definitely. We can see everyone pulling away now to follow out the pace car. So see everyone starting to warm up their tyres, get nice and settled in. I see Dylan leading the pack behind the safety car. Everyone get very, very interested to see what he does out of that final corner to set himself up for the green light. So I know that Mustang's a bit of a powerhouse in a straight line, but in the corners I feel like that Merc's definitely going to be showing him who's boss.
Yeah, in my head, I think the Corvette kind of shines in the corners because there's such tight corners with those 90-degree corners and that hairpin. I feel like you kind of want that bite of the mid-engine Corvette. But I mean, he's got the straight line speed. It's not a big power circuit, but it'll definitely help him down to turn 1 and down into that final hairpin there. But yeah, also, I just wanted to note that we have a 50% fuel limit on tonight for this race. So regardless of what you're doing, unless you kind of coast your way through in 6th for the race, everyone will be doing a pit stop, so that'll bring in strategy.
Certainly, and obviously, probably being in a Mustang that kind of tends to chug fuel like it's nothing, probably chugs fuel much like us commentators chug alcohol while we're doing this. See, obviously Chris Taylor there in the office space.
Is he using? He's using a green screen, right? That is not what his house looks like. Surely.
I don't know. It looks pretty realistic to me. That just looks like he's at the office there, doing some laps on a Wednesday night. And you can obviously see Lucas Keys already with a bit of a smile on his face.
Yeah, he's ready.
He's happy and ready to go.
What he said is, "I'm not using the brakes into turn 1," and that's what's caused his grin. He's just not using the brake. He's just gonna dive it.
Oh no, this is gonna create a bit of chaos for us in lap 1.
That's my call. I hope he's not thinking what I'm thinking. That's my hope. But that was a devious little grin. So we'll see what he's planning. That looked like looks like he's scheming there a little bit. But yeah, I think speaking of scheming, yeah, they got to think about their strategy. Yeah, 50% of fuel will get you home safely. I would assume, with 1 pit stop. But it's more about who's running heavy this first stint, who's running lighter, and how much fuel you're going to put in for that in the second stint.
Yeah, certainly. I know I'd be probably planning something devious there with a Nerds liveried Corvette, and so the Chris Taylor there, the rainbow Corvette as well.
Yeah, if I had access to the webcams.
Some shenanigans going on.
Yeah. All right, as we round, coming into the final corner as the BMW pulls off into the pit lane, and we line up nice 2 rows going through this final right-hand hairpin, and we'll see if Dylan Smith can lead away the grid as he's gone already. Green light is pulled out nicely. He is safely to turn 1 as we see Lucas Keys has the nose ahead and has cleared the Mercedes. So Lucas Keys up 1 position. We'll see. Hopefully we go through the chicane, mostly single file. That's nice. And we see Will Hammond looking to take that position back. Not sure if he has. He looks a little late on the brakes as Lucas Keys has defended that. And he's now under pressure, Will Hammond, from Chris Taylor, who dives it up, pushes the Mercedes out a little bit. But Will Hammond, after a kind of scruffy first few corners, holds his position in P3.
Yeah, I think he certainly was maybe sleeping when the gun went off there, because it certainly looked like Dylan just turned on the nitrous and just saw himself into the distance there for T1 of the chicane. And Lucas Key is kind of in the same thing, but you can see them all jostling and jumping around. And he's let Chris Taylor by.
Oh, that Porsche was so close to the wall there.
He's pulling it a bit wide. You can see Dylan under
What's happened here?
as well by Hammond.
Will Hammond just dived 2 positions.
What a dive there. He's holding on to it. He might get in front of Dylan there. It looks like he has. He has done
What's
it
happened
quite well
there?
there. Everyone's jumping and jostling positions. Morgan there as well, jumping onto the Corvette side there as well. Everyone jumping and jostling for this first lap, but it's Hammond coming across the line for the first lap.
I would have bet my house. Oh no!
Oh,
As we see Dylan Smith loses traction there. He is not into the wall. He just needs to hit reverse a little bit and he's all good, but that is a insane first lap. He looked so clear into turn 1. He looked like he had pretty much no pressure on him. He was just gonna cruise in, settle into his pace, and suddenly Will Hammond dive bombs him into that tight hairpin, that right-hander, and suddenly I think he's just lost his cool a little bit and he's just lit up the rear tires.
Maybe, and I'm seeing a couple of slowdown. Looks like slowdowns being applied to some people already. You can see Chris Taylor there with the yellow flag next to his name, so he's going to have to give it up a little bit here as well. You can see
Another slowdown
now, so it seems that might have been the case to happen to Lucas Keys. You can see him also being slapped there as well, just sitting back a little bit. It's not going to help him too nicely there because he's losing 2 positions. Oh wait, no, there's 2 nose liveries cars. Jeez, I'm really confused. This is not good for me. I believe that's Patrick Johnson in the other car there, which makes sense. We know they race together pretty regularly. And obviously everyone's having to just jostle about it a little bit because obviously everyone's been slapped with slowdowns. They took it on that back straight, which isn't the best spot for it. But here's a replay of the first lap. Lucas Keys pulling off to the side. There, Will Hammond hunting behind him. So as you can see, he's gotten a bit of a run here on Dylan, and it looks like he's just sent it up on the inside and managed to keep it together and just keep hold of it. You can see Taylor there just behind him as well. Have a little bit of a look on Dylan on the outside, but not really able to keep it there. You can also see him get a bit loose coming out of it. And Will Hammond just getting the better end of the deal there and just coming out cleanly on top.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know people were going to get slowdowns on the first lap so much because I thought that Will Hammond had dive bombed 2 people into the head and I was going to be amazed. But yeah, Lucas Keys just pulls off and has a few slowdowns. So it looks like there's going to be a few slowdowns this race that might impact people's positions. I mean, the field is so close. Look at this bunch here. If you get a slowdown, you're going to lose, what, 2-3 positions. So you've got to keep it on the track. But I mean, with all the people behind, you've got the temptation to push those track limits and it can bite back. Right, we've got Luke D here in the 888 Porsche in the Castrol livery, and he's just lit up the rear tyres again. Yep, Luke D loops it. I've just stolen Glenn's joke there and put it on broadcast. But yep, he's mostly kept it out the wall. So it looks all good. He can bring it back, and he's only 3 seconds behind the next person, so he can recover from there. But looking very traction limited this race. Everyone's kind of lining up the rear tires a little bit, maybe getting too greedy on those traction control kind of settings.
Maybe, and also I think that's probably that first chicane that's probably maybe catching a lot of, but you can see him catching a little bit of air coming into it. You see Lucas Keys come through it now. Hops a little bit of the first one and pretty much almost jumps the entirety of the second curve there. So maybe it's just that spot there where they catch a bit too much, because you see Chris Taylor, Hobbs and Dreyer all got
another slowdown. Yeah.
So that might be the key spot where you just got to keep that little bit wider on the apex.
Yeah, so that's like the 3rd slowdown for Chris Taylor now in like 3 laps. So he's got to pull it together a little bit. He's looking fairly calm. He's looking like he's having a good time actually in the webcam. So props to him, but he's got to pull off again here. So it's going to hurt for him, especially after that good qualifying. But down to P6 again. Yeah, he might hold it.
He might. We can see him now alongside with Benji in the BMW, but looks like Benji's just going to get in front there. Looks like he might just not slow down. It looks like he was going, just trying to like push that limit of how slow do I need to go. And you can see him already putting the pressure on there as well on the Mustang. But Benny coming out with another free position there, and obviously Chris Taylor and John McAdam there in the other Mustang, just kind of being hunted down by Chris Taylor, who's definitely very hungry to get a bit further up the grid. But he's going to have to put a bit of work in now coming from P7.
Yeah, he's definitely got the pace for it, but I mean, he's only got himself to blame with other slowdowns. So, look, he's still got 40 minutes, but there's so much action I can't keep up. I also wanted to point attention to Patrick Johnston is in the pits. I think that's a DNF there, so much action. I don't know what's happened to him, but I'd assume another spin somewhere that's probably been not so fortunate as the other ones, where they personally kept it out the wall, but I don't think with the DNF that he's probably kept it out the wall.
Yeah, it's not the greatest thing you want, but I can see the distance is all kind of closing up a little bit there, so I'm not too sure if that's just Archer coming in the pits now as well. But it's not looking good for Patrick Johnson at the moment in the Corvette.
All right, as we get a replay. Oh, what's happened? That looks like a hardware failure to me.
That's not good for him at all. Didn't look like he had any attempt in saving that.
Yeah, not the ideal line, we'll call it, into the first chicane. But yeah, I mean, we've known him long enough. Yeah, we've known him long enough around here to know that he probably wouldn't make that mistake without some sort of hardware failure. So I assume that's probably something either hardware or software, which is really unfortunate just 5 minutes into the race. But I mean, it happens around here.
I mean, that's just one of the things we have to kind of deal with in sim racing. I believe he's running Fanatec, so maybe that's just a Fanatec issue.
The classic, yeah. I mean,
good old
whenever
Fanatec moment.
yeah, good old Fanatec reliability, we call that one. But Yeah, I mean, look, we're lucky. It's better than those in real life failures where you DNF in the race and then have to pay for repairs, and they're usually like 10 grand. So we get them less often, and it's usually less serious. Usually just kind of a cable. So I mean, we're blessed for that. I mean,
This is iRacing, so the repair is having to pay your monthly bill.
That's true, but that's not going to fix your hardware anyway. As we see Chris Taylor here putting the pressure on John McAdam, coming through this right hand. He's going to get a good run and maybe show the nose, as he doesn't, but keeps close. And we'll try to get some good slipstream here. He probably won't catch up enough to make a move with his right kink, but I think he might be sizing up a move into the hairpin, but that Mustang's kind of pulling. I thought Chris got a good run there, but he's been pulling on that back straight.
Maybe, but he was pretty close during that 6 and 7 corner sequence there. He probably almost maybe stuffed up his line, but you can see him taking a bit of a wider line to John McAdam here, so he might be sizing him up for another overtake here in the last corner. Two very, very different lines to it, but it looks like it didn't pay off for him. Maybe he's just having to try to figure out what's going to work best for him, because that Mustang is huge on this track.
Yeah, it's pretty much half the track width, so very, very big. I think you were right in your initial reaction where this Mustang kind of boats around in the corners, but is really strong on the straight. And I'm just going to say, the one thing I don't want to see is Chris finally get past him and then get a slowdown. That's the thing I don't want to see this race. So hopefully, when or if he gets past, he'll be able to sail into the distance.
Yeah, certainly, it's kind of the opposite here with Peterson Rodriguez in the Mustang trying to chase down a Ferrari of good old Mitch Hobbs. He's really putting the pressure down of you're not letting me by at the moment in that Ferrari. It's certainly a bit of I'd say probably a bit more of a well-rounded car, especially for a circuit like this. Just having to be able to get on power and have it stick, and you can clearly see it here, getting a bit of a better run than Rodriguez, just unfortunately clipping the slightest bit of the wall there, and that Ferrari just going to keep crawling a bit further ahead of him, but unfortunately he's going to have to keep putting a bit more effort here, and you can see the Ferrari's taking full advantage there, just using every little bit of power it can out of it, but it certainly shines definitely here, obviously in some of the mid to high speed corners.
Yeah, I agree.
Slightly braking, but you can already see maybe Rodriguez might just have better pace on him because he's caught up in these corners, so maybe he's just driving that Mustang almost better than anyone else at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like the Mustangs are looking pretty strong, but I think they're suffering from a little understeer. We see that Ferrari kind of get a bit better initial turn in, but they're a very strong race car, obviously, with that straight line speed. So we'll see if we can get past Hobbsy here, obviously a veteran in this community. Probably more stable through this first chicane as well, probably able to attack a bit more. But now we see we got a three-way battle now. As Leo, is that Leo? Oh, it's a blue flag, sorry. I thought it was the Porsche of Leo Dre, but he's in McLaren. As Hobbsy goes wide, and it's gone. That's the move done. He looks like he wanted to have another sniff there. He doesn't make it, and that's a move for the Mustang done.
That's pretty much the play you want to do around this tight street circuit. Obviously, wait for the car in front to make a mistake, but you can see Hobbsy there showing no signs of defeat at all. He's clearly gotten himself back up onto the rear bumper of that Mustang, but now it's a bit of the opposite now on this back straight. The Mustang just pulling away that little bit on the straight, but obviously definitely that entry is going to compromise him a little bit more compared to the Ferrari, obviously being rear engine. You can see definitely just in that turn in already, the Ferrari just being able to hold a lot more speed there and just close that gap even closer and closer. Almost every single corner here, Mustang pushing it very, very wide on the X's as well, trying to just keep all the grip they can. But obviously, definitely going to be able to make the most use of it here on the main straight. You can see both had a relatively similar turn in, obviously with a bit of a tighter exit there as well. But he might have a little bit of a look here as well. You can see him just leeching over to the side already. But unfortunately, that Mustang top speed is just beating him out.
It's one of the tracks where I think it's better to be the chaser.
Rodriguez has got to slow down.
Oh, I didn't even see. Yeah, you're right. We'll see how he manages this. Yeah. I mean, I know mostly how the iRacing slowdowns work. We'll see if he can slow it down in these corners, but he's gone for the make a gap kind of move, and I don't think he's got a big enough gap here. Looks like he's slowing down a little bit already, but that gap is not big enough. And would you look at that? He pulls off and lets Hobbsy through again. So yeah, so mistake for mistake, lap per lap. Hobbsy goes wide, and then Peterson gets a slowdown. So name of the game around here, I think. You're so mistake prone around here, whether you're pushing too hard and missing your brake marking, or pushing too hard and cutting the course too much. So I mean, once you make an overtake, usually on another track, you're just trying to run away with it. But if you push too hard and get your overtake done here, isn't it in the wall? Speaking of pushing hard, that's hits the flashes in disappointment there. But Rodriguez, I think the car looks in one piece. I was getting he was going to lose his wing there, but he's continuing on for another lap. Oi, that's a dive bomb. That's
That's a big look there from Rodriguez, and
I think I'm going to pull that off. I think I'm going to call that a big penalty.
Yes, certainly, but I'm surprised this Mustang isn't as damaged considering what's just been through in these last 2 corners.
Oh no, it looks pretty damaged. He's into the wall there at very high speed.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see, here's the replay of what just happened before following Hobbsy there.
Oh, breaks on the curb and just loses the rear, I think, on entry. It's just so hard to save because once you're off there, you can't, there's no time to gather it up. And as we see, yeah, we've got a dive here. That's a long way back. I think he's been core checking his damage or something because that's not a move I think he'd want to do.
Yes, certainly, you can see that move to the inside to try and sort of get away from dealing as much damage to the Porsche in front, but unfortunately he's done a little bit more than he wanted to, both to his and the Porsche. You can see, obviously, the Porsche having to sacrifice a little bit. Thankfully, we've been able to get back up into it, so it looks pretty unfazed. But Peterson Rodriguez now with front end damage and a bit of side damage, not going to help him even more in these corners.
Oh, he's going to lose it again at the same corner. Oh, breaks on the grass, but just keeps out the wall. But I think just before we cut to the replay, I saw him drift off into the wall, so I think he might, he's going to pit here. I saw him take another whack just before the replay, so he's definitely got a fairly damaged Mustang there.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think that's going to be enough for him to get away with the one stop either. So certainly I'm not going to do anything great for him either. But at the moment in the other Mustang, John McAdam still under pressure by Chris Taylor in that rainbow Corvette. And you can see Leo Dreyer there in the McLaren, just sort of following along, kind of waiting for these two in front to do something. That seems pretty calm and collected from John McAdam at the moment. He's kept it together. Obviously, Chris Taylor in his office, pretty much in the same thing. Look at him, unfazed, just going through the motions.
Oh, that's
that Mustang again.
Very tight. Yeah, good camera angle change. That was very tight. But he's putting on the pressure, and McAdam is taking it. He's just tanking it. He's not phased at all. He's honestly probably more focused on chasing down Ben Hignett here, who hasn't really gotten away. This is a very tight three-way battle here.
Yeah, certainly, it's it.
Oh my god, it closes up so much in the brakes.
Well, it quite looked like he's got the pace just to get that little bit further every time against John McAdam.
Yeah, well, he's got to get away, but at the same time, he's in slowdown range. If he pushes a bit too hard, he's going to drop behind both of these guys, I'd assume. So it is, I mean, it's a tough game to play. You got to push to get away from him, but at the same time, if you push too hard just once, you're going to be behind him again.
Yeah, certainly. You can also see Chris Taylor probably also maybe playing the same thing in his own mind, considering he's already been slapped with a few slowdowns already. I think it's probably 2 or 3 now.
I think it's about 3, and they were all in the first lap. So he's dialed it in now. I don't think he's gotten one since, considering he's right on the back of McAdam here. But that Mustang looks to get a really good exit onto that back straight. And the Corvette kind of closes up a lot into these hairpins. But, I mean, the Mustang's quick in all the right spots.
I think he's just fast enough in the spots where it matters the most. And you can see him also just clipping a little bit of curve there. It's definitely going to help him. But even just in that hairpin, you can see the 2 different lines between the Corvette and the Mustang. And I know Corvette probably has better turning than the Mustang, but it doesn't seem like Chris Taylor's really taking any advantage of it.
No, it looks like he's gaining in the entries, but he's just losing out to the exit, which is kind of funny. I thought the Corvette would have a bit more traction considering it's mid-engine, but that Mustang looks like it has great traction, just getting all the power out of the corners and leaving Chris Taylor with nothing to fight with.
Certainly, we might have a possible 4-way battle as Josh Stewart, who's in front of Benji, has got a slowdown now. So that's going to bring him a little bit closer, just much like Chris Taylor on the backside of that Mustang. So you can see them just us in front as well. I see William Morgan in the McLaren and just in front of Stewart there as well. But it might have just gotten away with taking the slowdowns in the corners because he's still been able to keep his position there and not lose too much time.
That gap did close by a second though. That was the 3.5 second gap and it's down to 2.2. So Josh Stewart cannot afford any of those as Chris Taylor has a look and is a bit too far back. Cannot take the inside there. Just tucks back into the racing line. But yeah, those slowdowns are worth at least a second and a half. So if he has 1 or 2 more of those, he'll be... Well, firstly, he won't be able to fight for P3 because that was a very close battle there. He was within half a second. He's now back 1.7 seconds. But at the same time, 1 more and he'll be in the jaws of Benjamin Hignett. Alright, we've got Craig Busk here coming into... Oh, that's a lot of curb! I saw him tuck out there. I think he's alright. Nice flick spin a little bit. Doesn't manage to pull it off, but maybe a bit of lost focus there. He's just gone too wide, maybe tucked behind the wing of that car in front of him. He's just lost a bit of concentration.
Probably breathing a bit of a sigh of relief with that massive runoff there, considering I'm pretty sure all 4 wheels left the ground there.
Yes, that was Porsche Airlines for sure.
That was 100% Porsche Airlines, and thankfully he's kept it together. I was losing 1 position there to poor Loopy, who's down in P17. So still trying to work his way back up from his unfortunate mishaps a bit further in the race. But obviously just kind of focusing on this group at the moment. Benji's kind of just kept himself a distance between the cars behind him. So he might be a bit motivated now, seeing the backside of the Porsche a bit more. Maybe just that little extra edge just to go that little bit faster. As you can see, he's pulling a little bit of a gap on McAdam, Taylor and Dreyer there. You can see Dreyer just still chilling in the background between Chris Taylor there and John McAdam. Probably more or less just playing the waiting game, really, considering how tight this track is and what we've already seen happen before.
Yeah, but at the same time, we've been talking about Chris Taylor a lot, but now he's now got Leo Dreyer on his tail, and he's not a slow operator. So this battling's kind of costing him a little bit. He's got to get past McAdam. It's looking really tough for him. But if he doesn't do it soon, Leo Dreyer is going to get past him, and he's looking very, very pacey at the moment. Not sure where he came from. He's 2 places up, so I think it's a poor qualifying for him, but he's working his way up really nicely, and this is turning into a 3-way battle again.
Yeah, certainly. You can see Dreyer just kind of closing up in those first 2 corners there. Quite a bit compared to the Mustang. I feel like maybe the Mustang is just starting to slow up Chris Taylor a bit, because he's just been sitting very, very close, except for this back straight, almost every single lap. And Dryer's just been kind of slowly making his way up, I think purely just because Chris Taylor's being held up by the Mustang.
Yeah, no, I think, as we alluded to before, I think the Mustang's just quick in all the right spots. As Chris Taylor has another look again, he's probably a bit more motivated to get that move done again, but pulls out of it at the last second. As McAdam is putting up a really good defense right now. Chris Taylor looking a little bit again. This could be a nice surprise move here, but doesn't pull it off. This is the closest Chris Taylor's been for a while, but that Mustang on the exits again just pulls away a little bit, and that gaps back to that 3-4 tenths we've been looking at before. But yeah, I mean, I think McAdam overall is lacking the pace compared to Chris Taylor, but that Mustang is just quick on the exits and quick on the straights, and even though Chris Taylor's quicker, he doesn't have that pace delta, or he doesn't have that pace where he needs it to get past.
Yeah, certainly. It's a bit of a same for Leo Dreyer in the back there, because you can see, especially in this first sector here, he makes up a bit of time, especially in this section of corners here. He makes up quite a bit of time to the cars in front, but unfortunately, just in that back half of the track, he isn't really able to hold on to it.
Yeah, no, we see Chris Taylor really close again. I'm scared we're going to see the same ordeal on the back straight. He's got to really prioritize his exit here. As we see, that's pretty close. I think that's closer than we've seen for the past few laps, but I mean, that Mustang at that low end it looks like it's just pulling away from him in the slipstream. So I'm not sure what Chris Taylor can do here. He can have another look at this hairpin. He's going to have a look. He's been good on the brakes, but no, he doesn't look this time, and he closes up big time onto the Mustang there. But look, it's just, as I said before, the Mustang's just quick in all the right places. Risk can't do anything. You can see he's really trying, and he's closing up a lot in that first sector, but he just can't pull it off. Yeah,
it's a bit of kind of a cross-plane versus flat-plane V8 battle, really. Obviously, the Corvette being able to rev that little bit higher and just have that better acceleration, but it's not really put used to it. But you can see John McAdam there using all the power a little bit too much too early. They're having a little bit of a slide there on the exit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kept it together, and doesn't look like it's going to cost him too much at all. You can see him going through the chicane quite nicely, and obviously Chris Taylor still holding that relatively same gap. You can see him just crawling a little bit there in this corner here. He might have a look, but doesn't want to make it here. It's certainly a risky move in that section there, and he's chooses to stick behind the Mustang, but it's definitely going to matter over who gets the better exit here on this final corner. He's a lot closer this time coming through, but he
can't pull it off again.
I think it's that apex on that corner. You can see it took a little bit more there than McAdam. So maybe that's just where he's losing that few tenths every single time.
Yeah, it's just that exit. I'm not sure what it is with that corner, because Chris looks so much stronger in those first 4 or 5 corners. And you'd think that that last corner is the same kind of nature, that 90-degree corner, but he just can't pull it off on the exit, and McAdam leads for another lap. But yeah, well, he just can't get past.
No, he can't at all. It's probably going to get a bit frustrating for him. We've already seen him stick the nose out probably 2 or 3 times, and Lucas Dry going to the pits now. It's just nearing that pretty much at that halfway mark of the race. So he's setting himself up to try and maybe do a little bit of an undercut on these two, possibly, because he's held a relatively good gap on them. And you can see, obviously, Hignett now just in front of them as well, and the blue flag Mustang just popping out in front of him, I believe, out of the pits as well. So it's just kind of jumping them up a little bit. And you can see Chris Taylor all over the backside of the Mustang once again, pretty much sniffing it now between these corners.
It's definitely tasting that exhaust gas. Look how close he is, but he's got to stick it in this final quarter again. But he's closer than he has been, I think. But look at that low end from the Mustang. It's just pulling. So I mean, I think this is definitely the best opportunity Chris Taylor's had for a while. He's got a decent gap. This is still pretty far back from even to the hairpin. He might have a look. He's looking half the car out, but doesn't look. So yeah, I mean, that's the closest we've seen for a while, and he still can't make the move, so I don't know what else Chris can do. I'm not sure he has much left in his back pocket.
He's just biding his time, but there's probably going to come a point in time where he gets just maybe a bit too impatient with himself, and we might see a risky or stupid move come out, or maybe he's just pushing that a little bit too hard in the wrong spots and not setting up for that back straight as best as he could. Well, maybe he needs to put the pressure on in that first sector, especially in those lower speed corners, maybe where the Mustang isn't the best, and try and use that to his advantage. But you can see that just the straight line speed of the Mustang, especially on the main straight there, just pulling away. So certainly got to try and play his cards right, but it doesn't seem like he's doing that at the moment.
So, and also just wanted to have a note on Leo Dreher's undercut. I don't think it's going to work. He's come out 2 tenths behind P13 of Shane Goffin. He's going to have to make a move into the final corner. It's looking a bit sketchy, a bit of contact into McLaren's. Leo Dreher, I think, has the run just a tiny bit, but it's going to be sketchy into turn 1 here. Hopefully Leo Dreher backs out, but I don't think this undercut's going to work. He's just been put into traffic here. As he looks again around the outside, preps him for this inside here, as he has to brake late, puts the move in and doesn't clear him. Clears him? No, he does clear him just here, so it's all good, but that undercut I don't think has worked for Leo Dreher there.
Maybe not. He's got quite a bit to go, and obviously he's got a bit of a gap between him and Dan Hawkins to work for. And obviously now cutting a bit further up the grid, Willie Morgan in the other McLaren, still being chased by Joshua Struick, who's kind of pulled himself away from Hignett now. Hignett's probably not the happiest about that. He's probably a bit eager to get on the Porsche, but the Porsche being a really well-rounded GT3 car, certainly kind of excelling really at its best here.
Yeah, it looks good, and I think he has the pace here. Not by much. I think you remember Josh Struick had that slowdown before, and that gap came out to 2 seconds. And he's back to an 8/10 gap, so I think he's got the pace a little bit, but there's clearly not enough pace delta to get past. He's going to have to force a mistake or put the blowtorch on him, but he's getting closer, 8 tenths. Maybe the slipstream range, but I think that'll be a battle brewing for the last 20 minutes.
Maybe. You can see Lucas Keys just kind of chilling in the foreground as well ahead of him. He's also just chilling on his own, really, because you can see Will Hammond as well, nearly 3 seconds up on him as well. So Lucas Keys, as you can see, locked in with a bit of a smile.
Whoa, that's a tap on the wall.
Flirt there with the wall.
That was more than a flirt. That was a kiss there on the rear. And I don't know if it's damage or not. It might have knocked out the alignment on the rear there, but it might have just been his in lap. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but that looked like a fairly healthy hit onto that rear right corner there. Hopefully it's all good. We'll be able to see when he comes out if he took any repairs or not. So I hope it's all good there. He was putting up a fairly good fight for P1. They were pretty much traveling around the same pace, so one slowdown could have changed it all, but hopefully the fight for the lead's still on there.
You can see obviously John McAdam and Chris Taylor still just kind of going at it, but Chris, he's maintained this gap now for the past 2 laps. So yeah, maybe he's backing off a little bit, but it doesn't look like it in this section here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like once you deal with the pressure for so long, you end up realizing that they just can't get past and you start driving your own race. So I feel like it's kind of gotten to that point where McAdams just kind of stopped looking in the mirror. And it looks like he got a bit of a compromised exit there, but every time the camera pans, the gap is bigger than it looks like. But this looks fairly close to me. We'll see if Chris Taylor sells up a move. This looks the closest Chris Taylor's been, I think. And he might pull out. He pulls out the whole car length here. Has to dive it. Goes late on the brakes. Gets... Oh, that's so close.
That was close.
That was so close. I thought he was actually going to get side by side there, and I was surprised that he pulled it up without rear-ending him. So.
Slamming the door hard in his face there.
Yeah, hard but fair, definitely fair. Chris Taylor didn't have the overlap there, but it looked like the closest he'd been, and it still wasn't enough, so I don't know what else he can do to get past here.
I know, I'd be getting impatient if I was in his position, but he's just going to keep holding on, or maybe he just waits till McAdam goes into the pits, and maybe he just puts the pedal to the metal and tries to push a bit of a gap, but that's all going to come down a bit, possibly later, because these two might just be running to the end of their tanks and doing a splash and dash.
Yeah, it's definitely just a fuel only stop. I'm not sure how the undercut works here. I think it'd have to be Chris going into the pits first, unless McAdam kind of tries to read his strategy. But I think Taylor just has oh, that's a big wiggle for Lucas Keys coming out the pits. I think he's all good on damage. I think with that gap to Leo Dreyer, that's about the same as he had before. So no repairs. It's looking a little bit sketchy as the Corvette is. But yeah, just going back to Chris Taylor, I think he'd have to pit first and try to use that pace advantage he thinks he's got. But I'm not sure. I'm kind of convinced that Chris Taylor isn't getting held up too much anymore. Because I feel like if he had the pace delta, he would have been passed by now, but he just can't do it.
Maybe, and just kind of being a bit of a boat on the circuit. It's just hogging all the track that he can use, and might also just be discerning Chris Taylor a little bit. But I don't know if I was Chris Taylor in pitting, he'd probably get chucked into.
There he goes.
So he goes in the pits now.
Interestingly, everyone's in the pit lane. It's just McAdam. So
that's going to make it interesting for Chris Taylor there, because he's going to have a bit of traffic as he comes out of the pit. So maybe he might not be able to push as hard as he wants coming out of it.
But that's very interesting. The whole top 10's in the pits, which is everyone's just kind of had the same idea and strategy there. But McAdam, and we'll see if going different helps him a little bit here. But I'm not sure.
Maybe he's got a breath of fresh air now. He doesn't have the Corvette behind him, and he can just focus on what's in front.
Yeah, funny enough, that gap to Will Hammond has increased a little bit there. It was about 2.5, 3 seconds. We're up to 4.1. So I'm not sure if he's pushing really hard. I think Lucas is making a few mistakes, but I'm not sure if that's a strategy thing or a pace thing. But yeah, that gap's still 4 seconds. So Lucas didn't have any damage despite that very light kiss to the wall. But yeah, looking all good.
Yeah, you can see him just kind of locked in there. Fortunately, he's going to have a few back markers to weave his way through when he gets there. But at the moment, he's got fresh air to just kind of go for glory. And Will Hammond kind of in the same category, really. Just all the fresh air to just really push the car as much as they can. Obviously, coming into the last 15 minutes of the race now. So we're kind of really going to settle down this, but Will Hammond not really being surrounded by anyone that he's battling for position.
Yeah, McAdam's still going
around for another lap.
I'm not sure this is the right call for him. I mean, based on the assumption, he's got to slow down, yeah. That's not going to help his cause at all. And I was going to say, based on the assumption that Chris Taylor's quicker than him, I think he had to react the next lap. Because, I mean, with this slowdown, I think it's going to be really hard to defend his position. Unless Chris Taylor has traffic, but he doesn't look like he does.
Other move, Christian Wells been hit with a black flag.
Excuse my lack of iRacing knowledge. I have no idea how that happens unless it's incident points. So, oh, speeding the pit lane. Thank you, Glenn.
That
yes.
might be what it is, yeah.
That'll be a speeding the pit lane.
Because he's in the pits now, and he looked like he got it just before it popped up with pit lane, so he's already...
Yeah, it'll be a drive-through or stop and go, so I think he's all good. Because in my head, I just equated black flag with a DQ, so I thought he got DQ'd, but he's out on the track again. But the black flag hasn't been cleared. I don't know how that works. John McAdam is coming in now. Yeah, I hope this is another time battle's being watched that battle again. But I think with that slowdown and that 2-lap advantage to Chris Taylor, I think he might stop out behind. But I might eat my words. We never know. But yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to watch as we go back to Dylan Smith. After that lap 1, he's still sitting in P12 and he's done his stop already, so That's provisionally P11 with Dan Hawkins not being in the pits yet. So he's working his way up, but McAdam is on pit exit right now. And we'll have a look. Where does he come out? I think he's going to be ahead, actually. Let's have a look. He's ahead of Ben Hignett.
He jump on Hignett as well.
How's that happened?
That is a great strategy move by him. Maybe just because he had all the fresh air, he was just able to keep pushing, but... Or maybe he was just managing his tyres a little bit better in some spots. But I know he had that little bit of a slide in the wall. But... Also, no, it wasn't him that had the slide, it was someone else, but... Maybe he just played the game with his tyres and just still had that little bit extra, just obviously still had quite a bit of life in them, just able to keep pushing.
Yeah, I take it back. If McAdam, if you're watching this stream back, I'm sorry, I doubted your strategic masterclass. That is incredible. Even with the slowdown, he's come out effectively 2.5 seconds in front of Chris Taylor and in front of Benjamin Hignett, so that's incredible.
Maybe he wasn't playing the strategy game to Chris Taylor, but maybe to Benny in front.
Yeah, he's thinking one step ahead.
Maybe. We've just been thinking about it all wrong this entire time. We were too busy worried about the two cars next to each other, but...
Yeah, he wasn't thinking about the car behind, he was thinking about the car ahead. That's... Yeah, what a move.
I mean, that's kind of the way you want to see it, because if... Regardless, if both of them pitted at the same time, when McAdam pitted, they possibly would have both popped out in front of Ben Hignett.
Maybe so. I mean, that's some great optimism. That's more than a glass half full. That's a glass overflowing when you're defending for 20 minutes and then overtaking the car ahead. So good work on him. I'm actually so curious on how that pit stop works. So maybe, I doubt both Chris Taylor and Ben Hignett had any issues. So I think that's just a strategic masterclass from John McAdam.
Maybe because obviously McAdam going a bit further than both Hignett and Chris Taylor. Maybe he's just able to use a bit extra fuel there and obviously put in a little bit less now as well for the last 12-ish minutes of this race. So having a slightly lighter car is definitely going to help him here as well.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe the I mean, it'd be against my my idea of the Mustang, but maybe it uses less fuel than the Corvette and the BMW. Not too sure, but he looks like he has the pace again. He's keeping that gap around 1.5 seconds to Ben Hignett. So he looked like he was struggling for pace in front of Chris Taylor, but it looks like he's all locked in now.
Yeah, you can see Hignett's probably still... It looks like he's slowly trying to inch his way, getting every little millisecond he can closer to McAdam. Just corner by corner, really. Obviously, also being a front-engine car, so... Just kind of keeping in that mind space of trying to just maintain that gap behind, but also just decrease that gap in front.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I mean, look, if there's anyone to defend for his life at P5, it's John McAdam. I think, honestly, he's probably just using Chris Taylor for a defensive kind of training class. And now this is the real test for Ben Hignett here, so who knows? I mean, I'm not going to doubt his mind here. He might have actually been using Chris Taylor as a kind of a training dummy, and now he's got to put it all on the line to defend his P5 against Ben Hignett here.
Maybe, and you can also see a bit of traffic up in front as well. So that might come into play for Benjamin Hignett if McAdam catches him in the wrong spot.
Yeah, I'd say all of Sector 3 is the wrong spot for a blue flag. So it's a significant part of the track, maybe even most of Turn 1. I think the main kind of blue flag overtaking spot is that bunch of right-hand corners and that back straight, but it's so tight in this final sector here that there's a real chance.
Almost everywhere except for the back straight is
yeah, I think so.
Blue flags.
Well, I was thinking it's a little bit wider for that 90-degree kind of back-to-back section, so maybe it could work. But I mean, I'm thinking about Sector 3 here, and maybe even this first chicane. And I think we're going to see it happen in real time as McAdam is closing up to this blue flag bunch here. And we'll see if he closes up a lot in this first section. I think it might work out okay.
Getting a slow down there.
Oh, I didn't see that. Good pickup. And
he pretty much just absolutely obliterated that chicane. It looked like he just flew over the entire curve there.
Yeah,
copping the slow and copping blue flags in front of him.
Yeah, and with 9 minutes to go, that slowdown might be the nail in the coffin. I won't speak too soon, but that is a lot of ground he's lost. And he worked pretty hard to gain those 3 tenths. That gap came down to like 7 tenths from a second. And he worked pretty hard to get that gap down, and now he's got to work it all the way back from 2.5 seconds. So that is tough. He might have to look in his mirror instead here. Chris Taylor looking. That is side by side there,
100%.
and Chris Taylor sends it on Ben Hignett there. Ben had to open the steering up a little bit, but that is a great move.
What a move by Chris Taylor. I imagine him seeing the Benny with the slowdown penalties, just kind of giving a glimmer of light into his eyes of a free position. And he's licked the stamp and sent it into that back corner.
Yeah, and pulled it up perfectly. That's a great move, but that means McAdam is kind of just gone. He's taken this, he said thank you very much, and he's just out of here.
Yeah, certainly, and that's also now kind of opening the door to Leo Dreyer behind Hignett. You can see him just lurking in the background there. Just also pretty much doing the same thing as we saw before, just crawling his way up and just kind of waiting a bit by bit every corner. So might open themselves up to a three-way battle here. I see Hignett definitely losing a bit of time in this first section to Chris Taylor. But I know that BMW is pretty equally matched against the Corvette on the straights. So it's going to be a bit of a play only in the first and third sectors of this track.
We see blue flags again a little bit here. Hopefully the Mustang gets out the way after this right-hand kink. That's probably the best part because we might be heading to that Sector 3 kind of section. He doesn't pull off. We'll see how this works. Oh, I don't like what I'm looking at here. I really don't.
Chris Taylor pretty much racing that Mustang the same way it was John McAdam.
Yeah, he's getting deja vu here, actually, just being stuck behind a Mustang again. I don't like it, because he can't really get out the way at any point here. So it's going to be on the main straight, but this is holding up Chris Taylor a little bit here. I don't think Ben Hignett's crashing up too much, so it's not a massive deal, but yeah, it's not ideal, definitely.
Yeah, certainly not. It's going to cost him a little bit there, but thankfully enough, getting out of the way on the main straight. And Chris Taylor not having be super affected on that exit of the last turn, so still keeping that gap nice and healthy between him and Hignett. But even in this first section here, you can see Hignett just kind of crawls up a little bit, but it's that last section where Chris Taylor's that bit faster.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, Leo Dreyer dropped behind a little bit on that last lap, and he's now stuck behind that Mustang again. So, I mean, with 5-6 minutes to go, that's looking pretty rough for the 2-second gap back to Ben Hignett. So I think the main battle here is between Chris Taylor and Ben Hignett. Maybe he'll try to lick the stamp and send it back on Chris Taylor, but it doesn't look like they look very even on pace here. I'm not sure he can gain enough in 5 minutes.
Maybe so, and it's Chris Taylor obviously definitely wanting to get in front of John McAdam as well. You can see him just in the distance there. Probably not happy that his side of the strategy didn't play out the way he wanted.
Yeah,
John McAdam enjoying very much deserved breath of fresh air now after that.
Yeah, and speaking... Will Hammond does have a slowdown. Thank you, Glenn. And we see that gap dropping ever so slightly down half a second and looking like it's going to be down another. No, I think he maybe cleared most of it. The gap dips under 2 seconds here, so this could be a last minute kind of cinema battle for P1, but he's gotten rid of it. But look at that gap, 1.5 seconds down from 3 seconds. So one more, and that is a spicy battle for P1.
Certainly, let's put that gap down now to 1.5. So he played the game pretty smart there in the corners of slowing down. So thankfully enough for him, he's not going to have Lucas Keys just on his backside just yet.
Yeah, but it might have rattled him a little bit. He's lost another 10th coming through that hairpin, so with 5 minutes to go, Lucas maybe has that spurt of motivation now. He can see Will Hammond. He hasn't probably been able to see him clearly for the past 40 minutes. But now's his time, and we'll see if he can close up. That gap's coming down to 1.3 now. It loses a bit on exit, but it's pretty close. But I've been looking at that delta for most of the race, and it's been between 2 and 4 seconds the whole race. So I'd be surprised if Lucas Keys could pull up with a 1.5 second gap within 5 minutes of like 3 laps of the race. I'd be surprised considering how even on pace they are, but you never know. One slowdown run here and one mistake can change it all.
Certainly, you can also see a blue flag in front as well. So if he catches up to him very shortly, it's certainly going to possibly open up a door for Lucas Keys just to close that gap even more. Just depends on where he catches to the blue flag.
Yeah, and speaking of the closing the gap, 1.1 now to Will Hammond. This is a 4/10 difference on this lap between Will Hammond and Lucas Keys. So he's closing. Will Hammond might be feeling the pressure here. You can see that very brightly coloured Nerds Corvette there, and it's filling his mirrors. So he might be under pressure a little bit. He just has to hold his own. He's still got a decent gap, it might not look like it on the mirror for him, but he's still got a decent gap as Lucas Keys loses a bit on Ainsley there. It looked a bit sketchy, and he's lost all that 4/10 he just gained on this lap.
Yeah, you can see it just dipped down to pretty much 1.1 there, just on the back straight. You can see the Corvette just clearly faster there, and obviously Hammond just being better in the corners at the moment, getting it back up to 1.5. But you can just see it just slowly dipping down on some of these straights here. Now in that 1.4, especially in the chicane here, Lucas Keys definitely clearly faster there, getting another 10th. It might be another 2/10 here into this zone here. You can see between both of them taking very different entries to it. You can see the gap now coming down to a second.
The second, yeah.
So just inching ever so slightly closer and closer every single corner, 10th by 10th. But it's going to definitely see who gets the better exit out of
a second here.
We're under the second mark now, and you can see it just chilling in that 0.9, but just slowly getting shorter and shorter. But obviously, we saw last lap, Lucas Keys probably isn't the best in this heavy braking zone here at the end of the straight. And Hammond also coming close to some back markers now as well. Hopefully catching them on the main straight rather than in some of the corners. Obviously, Lukey in front of him in the Porsche. So it's going to make it another interesting play here for Lucas Keys. Obviously, still sitting in that 0.8 second delta at the moment. So he's able to hold on to it just that little bit more. They've caught the blue flags here on the main straight. Lights are flashing, but it might. Oh no! It looks like Lucas Keys isn't going to get held up by him too much there. Still holding that 0.8 delta at the moment. So he got very, very lucky there on the main straight, because otherwise that could have possibly ruined the possible for P1 for him.
Will Hammond here getting held up on this McLaren. I just wanted to point out that the battle of the race. Chris Taylor and McAdam down to 7/10 again. I'm not sure what happened to McAdam's. Oh, that's really sketchy from the McLaren. Oh, I would not get out the way like that, but he has done it. It's compromised Will Hammond by 1/10 of a second, so it's not ideal, but Lucas Keys also got held up onto that back straight, so it'll even out. Very, very sketchy. I was looking at the timings and I saw it come so close. But yeah, we've got two close battles here. Look at Chris Taylor. We've seen this image before, haven't we?
Oh, mate, it's deja vu once again, but this time in the last minute of the race. So it's probably going to be it's going to be one more lap out of this. Look, I'm not too sure where the leaders are in terms of track now. Here they are.
He'll just squeeze a lap out, yeah.
Just going to squeeze one more lap out. So I don't know if Lucas Keys can get that 0.8 in a lap, pretty much a second now. So it's going to be all eyes on Chris Taylor, who's dipped under the half a second mark now. You can see that delta is still shrinking smaller every so now and then, especially in that back straight. You can definitely see he's much quicker there. But it's all going to come down to this last lap. Both of them coming around the last corner to start their very, very last lap of tonight. Chris Taylor's worked very, very hard to get back here, and let's hope he can do it on track this time and keep that position.
I'm sitting here and I'm just wishing this was an hour-long race, because it's all heating up now and we're going to get it robbed away from us with one lap to go. We see Lucas Keys still 8 tenths behind. This is way too far back and coming to the final straight. As long as Hammond doesn't make a mistake here, I think he should be safe, because there's no way Lucas Keys can pull off a move, into the hairpin with 7 tenths. And after this hairpin, I would say there's pretty much no more overtaking moves. So as long as he pulls it up nice and easily and just takes it conservatively, he is. He's just lost 3 tenths to the hairpin because he's just taking it easy. But I mean, after this, there's really nothing else Lucas Keys can do except watch him take the flag.
Yeah, certainly. It seems Chris Taylor might have to do the same thing as well. He's currently not able to do anything coming onto the back straight.
Too far back.
He's just a bit too far back, but if he can get just close enough, there's
the McLaren blue
in
flag. As we see Will Hammond comes across the line to take a very, very good win over Lucas Keys. It got close at the end, but it was a very controlled race. As it looks a bit messy back here, as we see them coming to the final corner. William Morgan, a very quiet race, kind of in no man's land around here, but it was kind of close to Josh Druick there on P4 as they come across the line. So a few close gaps here as we see John McAdam take a very well-earned P5, and Chris Taylor has to settle for P6 here.
Strategy masterclass from John McAdam.
I know, I doubted him. I'm sorry.
And getting the extra position.
Yeah, I have to say I doubted him, so I'll have to take the flame there.
And do I dare say Mr. Consistent for on track as well? I think he had maybe one slowdown penalty.
I think it was that one slowdown on the pit on that in lap, but that's it. Yeah, that was really good. He never got it when it mattered. He never got that slowdown when Cristiano was right behind him. So, yeah, I think that's a fair call.
That is a very, 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 very interesting turnout for what has been good old iRacing here at the streets of Adelaide. Jeez, we've had some interesting battles here, but I still can't make of it.
No, that was awesome racing. It looks like they can really race closely here. And there was no netcode issues, none of that. So really good. But yeah, props to Will Hammond. He held off at the end. He had the pace. He had the class over the field today. And Lucas Keys tried to mount a fight there at the end with 8 tenths back, but couldn't do it. And we have William Morgan rounding out the podium. He had 9 seconds back. And Josh Truick almost had it. He was battling William the whole time that race, but couldn't get it. And then we go to P5, Mr. McAdam, providing us all the entertainment that race. 18 seconds back, and then we finish off with Chris Taylor in P6, Mr. Hignett in P7, Leah Dreyer P8, Hobbsy P9, and Dylan Smith rounds out your top 10.
Jeez, we said we were going to have mid-pack battles, and we had it.
Oh, we definitely had them. We kind of caught it. Like, that midfield is really close, and that top 5 might pull away, and they kind of did. And, like, the P5 and below, we had an awesome battle throughout the whole race.
Oh, certainly. But that's going to round it out for your Wednesday night racing here on OOR. Proudly sponsored by our good old friends here at Thermaltake. Very much thank you for joining us here at the booth. I know you guys probably enjoyed it just as much we did tonight. This has been round 5, but obviously don't turn off your socials or whatever for tomorrow night, because we're going to have Split Red going around KYALAMI tomorrow night. And I believe good old WEC series once again around Monza as well. So just keep your eyes out for that. But for the moment, it's going to be from me, myself, and Stevie Ty here in the box. Thank you very much.